Okay. Am I being heard? Is my mic picking me up? Is it doing it? It's of course. Yeah, there we go. There I am. There's the bar that makes me aware that my voice is coming in. I updated OBS recently, so it like everything is fractionally different, but like just enough so that I'm like, what will happen? What will it do? Anyway, hello. Hello, everyone. Hello. Happy Monday. Happy funny little insert funny little Tumblr-esque holiday here. Manta Ray Mondays. Man-Eater Monday. Monkey Monday. Matcha Powder Monday. Help me Monday. Helpy Monday. Help me Monday. Oh God. It's Monday, please. Oh no, I need assistance. Oh cool, I can do this. Whee! I couldn't do that before. I can rotate myself. That's cool. Alright, well, so like I said, welcome to the stream. Welcome everyone. Lovely to have you. Rotato. Did you know that you can just rotate me in your mind and it's free? You can just do this for free in your brain in your brain. Oh man, it's been a minute. It's been a minute. I'm not gonna lie. Yo, I haven't I have not I have like I have not been okay. I've not been okay. I'm a little more okay now. I'm getting okayer by the day. But I'll just be straight up front with y'all. I just got like super depressed for like 2 or 3 weeks, and I was just not having it. I was just not doing okay. I really didn't want eyes on me. I wasn't really comfortable with any form of attention, let alone like getting a stream going. And then I also started to get like kind of sick because my allergies have been just going bonkers out of nowhere. So I have just been I've been in a bad place. I've been having a bad time for like, oh my God, for like a couple of weeks. But like I said, I'm kind of coming out of it. I'm doing okay. I'm having a better time. We're doing all right. If I had a thumbs up on this character model to give you, I would give it to you. Instead, here's a knife. This is my knife of I'm okay. So let's see. What else have I been up to lately? What have I been doing? What else have I been doing other than feeling horrible? Probably the biggest, bestest piece of the news was that my partner and I went to a concert for like the first time ever together, like ever. Ghost, Mastodon, and Spirit Box were playing in town, and if you know me, if you know me, you know I love Ghost. I very big love that band. I very big love my manic pixie dream middle-aged man. They're on a so Ghost is touring through America right now, and they were in Arizona recently, like a couple weeks ago. I don't know where they are now. But yeah, and they were just in my town, and the thing is, like, you know, husband and I look at each other and we're like, we can't just not go. They're here. They're gonna be 20 minutes away from our apartment. We gotta go. And the thing is, like, but my chat. Uh-oh. There we go. Anxiety bad. I get anxiety bad. I go into heavy, thick crowds of people and noise, and I'm like, Panic. Just stay away from me. Get away. Stay away. Get away. Stay away. Get away. So this was like a really big challenge for me to handle, going to like a big arena with like tons of other people and like a lot of loud noise. Panic at the concert. Pretty much. But no, I did okay. And I got through the whole concert. I got through the whole thing, and I had fun, and it was a great time, and it was lovely. It was super cool. I never want to do it again. Absolutely never. There are two bands that I am willing to do this for, and that's probably like Ghost and Powerwolf. Which is kind of funny that they're two very diametrically opposed bands, considering one is like the gay satanic cult, and the other one is like werewolves for Jesus. But yeah, so I will more than likely never do that again. I was talking to my mom about it. Stand up for the night, the werewolves for Jesus, and we go bite. Satanic werewolves for Jesus. Like, you don't question it. It just makes sense. Don't worry about it. So, I was talking to my mom about it. My mom's like, oh, would you... So does that mean you wouldn't go to a Five Finger Death Punch concert with me? And I was like... Hell no. Absolutely not. I will fight if you try to drag me to a fucking Five Finger Death Punch concert. Hell no. Hell the shit ass no. Your mom listens to Five Finger Death Punch? Yeah. Yeah, she does. At least some of it. My mom is still like a very like Kentucky Southern country music, whatever's popular on the radio kind of woman, but she also likes Five Finger Death Punch for some reason. Anyway, so there's that. I've been playing Splatoon 3. Splatoon 3, very fun. Very much have fun with Splatoon 3. Okay, so real question. When you say Ghost, are you still referring to Ghost formerly known as Ghost BC? Yes. Yes, I am talking about Ghost, the band with Papa Emeritus the Fourth, formerly Cardinal Copia, formerly Papa 3, formerly Papa 2, formerly Papa 1. Yes. I'm talking about whoops, wrong thing. I'm talking about this guy. I'm talking about this handsome motherfucker. I have this. I have this pop figure. I have a bunch of ghost pops. They're all sitting on my desk. This is him. This is what he looks like in real life. Okay, so anyway, Dunny, tell them about the masks. Which ones? Like the prosthetic Papa masks or the masks of the ghouls? Because I'm still trying to learn the difference between the masks of the ghouls, so don't ask me to figure that one out. It was cool though. Like it was a super cool concert. I had a lot of fun. What was I talking about? Yeah, so I've been playing Splatoon 3, having fun with that. I also played and finished the new Saints Row. It sucks, don't play it. The new Saints Row is very, very stinky poo poo, not that great. The trans flag ghost mask. Actually, okay, so I don't have a picture of it on hand, but someone at the Ghost concert was handing out trans pride flags with the Ghost logo on it, and that was super fucking cool. Cause then like husband like ran off to get a couple and then came back. And then the hilarious thing is we also wound up sitting next to like one of the only other trans mask guys that we know in town. And they were like, it's you! It's you! And then we gave him the other flag. Because he was like, is that a fucking trans pride ghost flag? We're like, hell yeah, it is. Here, take one. I've heard both really good and really bad things about the new Saints Row. It's like, all the pieces are there. Like, the gameplay is about what you would want it to be, but it just lacks so much of the personality that makes the other games good. It still made me like chuckle a couple of times, but yeah, it needed a little more time in the oven. It just kind of like, so by the time it's on Steam, it'll be good. It definitely was super buggy. Like, I think if they could iron out a lot of these really game-breaking bugs, it would at least still be like a pretty good game. But wait for it to be on sale. Like, if you really want to play it, I rented it, and I'm happy I didn't like buy it straight out. I think I would have been pissed off. But it's meh. It's very meh. Anything else that I've been doing? Mostly just been wallowing in my own self. No, I'm not gonna say no. I'm not gonna be that self-depreciating. No, that's pretty much that's like pretty much it. Unless there's something else that I'm missing that I'm thinking of. I've mostly just been collecting other books for when I'm ready to do a stream again. And on that note, so this guy. This guy. I found this at the Barnes and Noble one day when I was just kind of like, I don't know. I look around their horror section just for giggles every now and again, looking for more like short story compilations. And I found this guy, and he's supposed to be like credited with really good like gothic like haunted castles, like gothic atmosphere kind of scenarios. I found a couple of authors recently that I've been like, oh, this would be really interesting to read. And I keep telling myself, oh, I'll read them in my own time. And then I don't, because I have a hard time reading anything and sitting still for any length of time to actually fucking read for my own pleasure. So I was like, not only do I want to stream again because it's fun, but it's also one of the only ways I actually ever goddamn read anything. I don't want to read unless I'm actually reading it out loud to chat. It's like the only way that I can ever like get through a fucking book ever. Now, hopefully this one won't be as weird old-timey racist. I'm really hoping it's not. Technically, I believe these stories were published in like 1961 instead of like late 1800s, early 1900s, where they were really casual about the racism. But you know, we'll see. We're gonna find out. This one has a short story that I've really wanted to read for a while called Sardonicus. It's about a very happy man. We'll all be finding out. We'll all be checking that out together. We're all gonna check out this funny little man and his funny little castle in our funny little book, and have a funny little time. I'm trying to think if I have anything else to discuss, to talk about. I think that's pretty much it. I don't really think there's much more. Just bad brains, just like concert, got overstimulated, had a week of bad brain spaghetti, had another week of bad brain spaghetti, finally saw my therapist, kinda got sick, brain spaghetti started to get untangled, and now here we are. And then I also played like a couple of games, one of them shit, and the other one is Splatoon. So, all right, everybody, let's go ahead and get settled in. Let's go ahead and get ready. Hopefully, the sound quality is doing okay on the mic and all that. I have this just ready to go at a moment's notice.
That's rough, buddy.
Just as soon as we need it. I really need like a soundboard. I need to look into buying a soundboard so that I can just have this stuff on hand. But I messed with the audio levels a little bit, so I think I can go ahead and just play that whenever I want. That's rough, buddy. I do need a soundboard. It would really make things a lot easier. But anyway, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to start up. We're about 25 minutes into the stream. And this has a foreword by like Guillermo del Toro, so I'm kind of like, okay, maybe it's good. Look, if it's got a fucking foreword from Guillermo goddamn del Toro, maybe it's good. Maybe it'll be fine. We don't know, but I want to trust him. I want to trust Guillermo del Toro of all people. All right, let's dig in. We're digging into Sardonicus. Story about a happy guy in his happy little castle. Part 1. An S of vulgar pretension. In the late summer of the year 1880, a gratifying series of professional successes had brought me to a state of such fatigue that I had begun seriously to contemplate a long rest on the continent. I had not enjoyed a proper holiday in nearly 3 years, for in addition to my regular practice, I had been deeply involved in a program of research, and so rewarding had been my progress in this special work. It concerned the ligaments and muscles, and could, it was my hope, be beneficially applied to certain varieties of paralysis, that I was loath to leave the city for more than a week at a time. Being unmarried, I lacked a solicious wife who might have expressed concern over my health. So, I got no bitches. Because I have no bitches, I was without anyone to tell me that my health was going to be a problem. Expressed concern over my health. Thus it was that I had overworked myself to a point that a holiday had become absolutely essential to my well-being. Hence the letter which was put in my hand one morning near the end of that summer was most welcome. He was maidenless. Absolutely maidenless, this man. No maidens. When it was first presented to me by my valet, at breakfast, I turned it over and over, feeling the weight of its fine paper, which was almost of the heaviness and stiffness of parchment, pondering the large seal of scarlet wax upon which was imprinted a device of such complexity that it was difficult to decipher. Examining finally the hand in which the address had been written, Sir Robert Cargrave, Harley Street, London. It was a feminine hand, that much was certain, and there was a curious touch of familiarity to its delicacy, as well as to its clearness. This last, an admirable quality far too uncommon in the handwriting of ladies. This dude just be like, yo, women's handwriting, fucking shit these days. I want my women's handwriting. I want my women's handwriting to be goddamn feminine, damn it. I want to see some curls. I want to see some hearts on the eyes. I want it cute. I'm tired of these woke feminists that write letters in masculine lettering. It confuses my male brain. The fresh clarity of the hand, and where had I seen it before, bespoke a directness that seemed contrary to the well-nigh unfathomable ornamentation of the seal, which, upon closer and more concentrated perusal, I at length concluded to be no more than a single S, but an S whose writhing curls seemed almost to grin presumptuously at one, and an S which seemed to be constructed of little else than these grins, an S of such vulgar pretension that I admit to having felt vexed for an instant, and then in the next instant foolish at my own vexation. For surely, I admonished myself, there are things a deal more vexing than a seal which you have encountered without distemper. Dude's getting horny over an S. Dude, bro, it's a letter. It's not that deep. It's one letter. Relax. Smiling at my foible, I continued to weigh the letter in my hand, searching my mind for a friend or acquaintance whose name began with an S. There was old Shipley of the College of Surgeons. There was Lord Henry Stanton, my waggish and witty friend. And that was about the extent of it. And then there was my other friend, Slappy Winklebottom. And my other friend, Shippy Bing Bongs. I can't... I was trying to think of something funnier, but I'm just like... Swinky Winkerbean. I don't know. My friend's Slathery Joe. Anyway, my waggish and witty friend, and that was the extent of it. Was it Harry? He was seldom in one place for very long, and he was faithful and gifted. He was a faithful and gifted letter writer. Yet Harry's bold hand was far from effeminate, and, moreover, he would not use such a seal, unless it were as a lark, as an antic jest between friends. My valet had told me, when he put the letter in my hand, that it had come not by the post, but by special messenger, and although this intelligence had not struck me as remarkable at the time, it now fed my curiosity, and I broke that vexing seal and unfolded the stiff, crackling paper. Snuffleupagus. Main character is Big Bird, and he's like, I have received a letter from Snuffleupagus. I don't know why this is my Big Bird voice. I've received a letter from Snuffleupagus. The message within was written in that same clear, faintly familiar hand. My eye first traveled to the end to find the signature, but that signature, Madam S., told me nothing, for I knew of no Madam S. among my circle. I read the letter. It is before me now as I set down this account, and I shall copy it out verbatim. My dear, sweet Robert, it has been close to 7 years since we last met. Indeed, at that time you were not yet Sir Robert at all, but plain Robert Cargrave, plain loser, idiot, stupid, baby, piss, baby, pants, Robert Cargrave. Although some talk of imminent knighthood was in the air. And so I wonder if you will remember Maud Randall. Remember Maud Randall? Remember Maud Randall? Oh my God! Maud Randall! I don't know Maud Randall. Remember Maud Randall? Dear Maud of the bell-like voice, of the chestnut hair and large brown eyes, of a character of such sweetness and vivacity that the young men of London had eyes for no one else. She was of good family, but during a stay in Paris there had been something about injudicious speculation by her father that had diminished the family fortunes to such an extent that the wretched man had taken his own life, and the Randalls had vanished from London society altogether.
That's rough, buddy.
I knew it was gonna come up. I had it on hand. I had it ready. Maud, or so I had heard, had married a foreign gentleman and had remained in Europe. It had been sad news, for no young man of London had ever had more doting eyes for Maud than I, and it had pleased my fancy to think that my feelings were, at least in part, reciprocated. Remember Maud Randall, yes, I almost said aloud, and now 7 years later she was Madam S., writing in that same hand I had seen countless times on invitations. I continued to read. I often think of you, for, although it may not be seemly to say it, the company of few gentlemen used to please me so much as yours, and the London soirees given by my dear mother, at which you were present, are among my most cherished recollections now. But there, frankness was always my failing, as mother used to remind me. She, dear kind lady, survived less than a year after my poor father died, but I suppose you know this. I am quite well, and we live in great comfort here, although we receive but rarely and are content. And are content with our own company most of the time. Mr. S. is a gracious gentleman, but of quiet and retiring disposition, and throngs of people, parties, balls, etc., are retrograde to his temperament. Thus it is a special joy to me that he has expressly asked me to invite you here to the castle for a fortnight. They're going over for... Oh my God! They're going over for fortnight! Everybody, we're going over to Fortnite. Party at the castle for Fortnite party. Let's fucking go. Let's do it. Never have I ever played a Fortnite. I've never played a Fortnite. I instinctively believe that if I ever try to play a Fortnite, I will end up like starting to like buy shit for it with my real money. So I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. Where were we? Yeah, Fortnite. Majima should be in Fortnite. Kiryu and Majima from Yakuza for Fortnite when hashtag Epic Games put Kiryu in Fortnite. For a fortnight at least, but however long as it pleases Sir Robert to stay among such drab folk as he will think us. You see, I told you he was gracious. Fork? What the hell? The fork knife? What the hell's that? Is that some kind of wacky dang old kids game that the childrens are into these days? I don't know nothing about no fork knife. I must have frowned while reading, for the words of Mrs. S. were not so much gracious, I thought, as egregious and as vulgar as his absurd seal. Still, I held these feelings in check, for I knew that my emotions toward this man were not a little colored by jealousy. He, after all, had wooed and won Maud Randall, a young lady of discernment and fine sensibilities. Could he have been capable of wedding an obsequious... could she have been capable of wedding an obsequious boor? I thought it not likely. And a castle, such a romantic grandeur. Invite you here to the castle, she had written. It said, come to the castle. I've baked you a cake. Signed, Princess Peach. God, that joke bombed so hard at the award show. Was there like a literal like fork knife joke at like an award show? Did someone actually try to make that joke to an audience that wasn't me? Invite you here to the castle, she had written. But where was here? The letter's cover, since it had not come by post, offered no clue. Therefore, I read on. Yes, made by a Muppet? Oh, good lord. It was indeed only yesterday, in the course of conversation, that I was recalling my old life in London, and mentioned your name. Miss S., I thought, was of a sudden interested. Mr. S., I thought, was of a sudden interested. Robert Cargrave, he said. There is a well-known physician of that name, but I do not imagine it is the same gentleman. I laughed and told him it was the same gentleman, and that you're a fucking moron, that you're a stupid idiot baby pants, that you would even question it. Of course it's the same man. How many fucking Robert Cargraves are there out there? There is a well-known physician of that name, but I do not imagine it is the same gentleman. I laughed and told him it was the same gentleman, and that I had known you before you had become so illustrious. Did you know him well? Mr. S. then asked me. And you will think me silly, but I must tell you for that moment I assumed him to be jealous. Such was not the case, however, as further conversation proved. I told him that you had been a friend of my family's and a frequent guest at our house. This is a most happy coincidence, he said. I have long desired to meet Sir Robert Cargrave, and your past friendship with him furnishes you with an excellent opportunity with an excellent opportunity to invite him here for a holiday. I keep hiccup. This is a bad time for hiccups, Body. Please don't do this to me. And so, Sir Robert, I am complying with his request, and at the same time obeying the dictates of my own inclination, by most cordially inviting you to visit us for as long as you choose. I entreat you to come, I entreat you to come. Chat, I entreat you to come. Anyway. I'm a fucking child. I entreat you to come, for we see so few people here, and it would be a great pleasure to talk with someone from the old days and to hear the latest London gossip. Suffer me, then, to receive a letter from you at once. Mr. S. does not trust the post. Hence I have sent this by a servant of ours, who is to be in London on special business. Please relay your answer by way of him. I rang for my man. 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 Is the messenger who delivered this letter waiting for a reply? I asked. He is sitting in the vestibule, Sir Robert, he said. You should have told me. Yes, sir. At any rate, send him in now. I wish to see him. My homie left. My man left, and it took me but a minute to dash off a quick note of acceptance. It was ready for the messenger when he was ushered into the room. I addressed him. You are in the employ of Madame... I realized for the first time that I did not know her husband's name. The servant, a taciturn fellow with Slavic features, spoke in a thick accent. I am in the employ of Mr. Sardonicus, sir. Sardonicus, a name as flamboyant as the seal, I thought to myself. Then deliver this note, if you please, to Madame Sardonicus. Immediately, you return. Delivered. Take this letter. Take it. Go now. Fucking get the fuck out of my house. Take this fucking letter. Tell them that I'd love to be there. Then deliver this note, if you please, to Madame Sardonicus. Immediately you return. He bowed slightly and took the note from my hand. I shall deliver it to my master straight away, sir, he said. Oh, wait, no, that's right. I gave him an accent. I shall deliver it to my master straight away, sir, he said. His manner nettled me. I corrected him. To your mistress, I said coldly. Madame Sardonicus will receive your message, sir, he said. I dismissed him, and only then did it strike me that I had not the faintest idea where the castle of Mr. Sardonicus was located. I referred once again to Maud's letter. Please relay your answer by way of him, and pray make it an affirmative, for I do hope to make your stay in large blank space an empty one. There's just an empty space here. I hope to make your stay in the horrible, lightless void a pleasant one. I consulted an atlas. The locality she mentioned, I discovered, was a district in a remote and mountainous region of Bohemia. Filled with anticipation, I finished my breakfast with renewed appetite, and that very afternoon began to make arrangements for my journey. Part 2. The Sight of a Giant Skull. Hold on. There it is. There's the giant skull. We found it. There it is. Giant skull. It's very big. Even bigger skull. The super skull. Oh my god, I found this giant skull. What the fuck? Look at the size of this skull. This is his skull actually looks too small for his body. This looks like a child's head was put on an adult man. Anyway, none of this is important. None of this matters. Let's move on. The what? I am not, as my friend Harry Stanton is, fond of travel for its own sake. Harry has often chided me on this account, calling me a dry-as-dust academician. I'm gonna say it's that. The academic man. Academy boy. Academia, macadamia hero. I can't read. Fuck. I'm leaving now. Bye. No. Okay. Calling me a dry-as-dust academician. Oh my god, please. This is another one of those words that I'm just never going to be able to pronounce ever in a million years. Academician and an incorrigible Londoner. That feel when you're an incorrigible Londoner. Which I suppose I am. For in point of fact, few things are more tiresome to me than ships and trains and carriages. And although I have found deep enjoyment and spiritual profit in foreign cities, having arrived, the tedium of travel itself has often made me think twice before starting out on a long voyage. Still, in less than a month after I had answered Maud's invitation, I found myself in her adopted homeland, sojourning from London to Paris, thence to Berlin, finally to Bohemia. I was met at, once again, a blank void. Oh my god. Oh, oh no. Oh, the stream. Oh, the stream. Oh no, what's happening? Oh no, what's happening to the stream? What has happened? What is going on? What happened to stream? I'm looking at my stream playback and it is like unviewable. Wait. Okay, are we good? Did it fix? Are we good? Are you okay? Stream, are you alright? You doing alright there, stream? You okay? I'm watching you. I'm watching the playback. Okay, alright, it looks fine. It looks fine to me too. I think Machine Elves and I both just happened to catch it at like a weird, like, my internet goofed or something time. Whatever, anyway. Back in my chair. Whoop. It did huge swaths of gray and pixelation. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was seeing too. But I just refreshed. I just refreshed my stream on Twitch, and it seems to be doing okay. I'll keep an eye out if it happens again. Anyway. So yeah, this guy doesn't like going on long trips because he doesn't like it. He has a bad time. Oh yeah, and then okay, so when the location that this story is taking place in is just represents it by a like blank space in the text. So it's like not specified where this is. So it was just finally to Bohemia. I was met at large blank space. I was met at the void by a coachman who spoke imperfect English, but who managed, in his solemn fashion, to make known to me that he was a member of the staff at Castle Sardonicus. He placed at my disposal a coach drawn by 2 horses, and after taking my bags, proceeded to drive me on the last leg of my journey. Alone in the coach, I shivered, for the air was brisk, and I was very tired. The road was full of ruts and stones, and the trip was far from smooth. Neither did I derive much pleasure by bending my glance to the view afforded by the windows, for the dark was night, for the night was dark, for I am the dark night, for I am vengeance. For the night was dark, and the country was, at any rate, wild and raw, not made for serene contemplation. The only sounds were the clatter of hoofs and wheels, the creak of the coach, and the harsh, unmusical cries of unseen birds. We receive but rarely, Maud had written, and now I told myself, little wonder. This place fucking sucks. This place is awful. Just awful. Terrible vibes. In this ragged and, one might say, uninhabitable place, far from the graces of civilized society, who indeed is there to be received, or, for the matter of that, to receive one? I sighed, for the desolate landscape and the thought of what might prove a holiday devoid of refreshing incident had combined to cloak my already wearied spirit in a melancholic humor. It was then I was in this condition that Castle Sardonicus met my eye, a dense, hunched outline at first, then with an instantaneous flicker of moonlight, a great gaping death's head, the sight of which made me inhale sharply. With the exhalation I chuckled at myself. Come, Sir Robert, I inwardly chided. It is, after all, but a castle, and you are not a green girl who starts at windows and quails at midnight stories. What the hell do you mean you're not a green girl? What the hell does that mean? Excuse... You are not a green girl. This man, not a green girl. Absolutely not. The castle is situated at the terminus of a long and upward winding mountain road. He's no baby. He's no babby. The castle is situated at the terminus of a long and upward winding mountain road. It presents a somewhat forbidding aspect of the world, for there is little about it to suggest gaiety or warmth, or any of those qualities that might assure the wayfarer of welcome. It really could have used more gaiety. Way more gay. I need more gay in my I'm just not comfortable. I am not comfortable, and I am not comfortable in a castle unless it's gay as fuck. That castle better be... I want that castle to be queer as shit. If that castle ain't covered in rainbows, then I'm fucking leaving. Fuck it. Rather, this vast edifice of stone exudes an austerity cold and repellent, a hint of ancient mysteries long buried, an effluvium of medieval dankness and decay. Yo, it's got that medieval dank. An effluvium of medieval dankness and decay. At night, and at most particularly on nights when the moon is slim or cloud-enshrouded, is a heavy blot upon the horizon, a shadow only, without feature save for its many turreted outline, and should the moon be temporarily released from her cloudy confinement, her fugitive rays lend scant comfort, for they but serve to throw the castle into sudden, startling chiaroscuro. Its windows I have to look that up. Hold on. We don't have rainbows, but we kidnap Powerwolf. They don't seem to mind. Powerwolf just shows up at a castle, and they're just like, yeah, okay. They just assume they're supposed to be there. I gotta look something up. Shoot, where was it? Ancient Mysteries, Turreted Outline. Sure, I think we looked this up once before. We did look this up once before. Yeah, it was a style of Gothic painting. Okay. I love how I've actually looked up that word before. What the fuck is a chiaroscuro? And it's like, oh, it's a type of painting. And it's still in my history from looking it up the first time. For they but serve to throw the castle into sudden, startling chiaroscuro, its windows fleetingly assuming the appearance of sightless, though all-seeing orbs, its portcullis becoming for an instant a gaping mouth, its entire form striking the physical and the mental eye as would the sight of a giant skull. Oh my god, he said giant skull, he said the title of the part. But though the castle had revealed itself to my sight, it was a full quarter of an hour before the coach had creaked its way up to the step and tortuous road to the great gate that barred the castle grounds from intruders. Of iron the gate was wrought, black it seemed in the scant illumination, and composed of intricate twists that led, every one of them, to a central huge device of many curves which, in the infrequent glints of the moon-glow, appeared to smile metallically down, but which, upon gathering my reason about me, I made out to be no more than an enlarged edition of that presumptuous seal, a massive single S. A massive single shit! Behind it, at the end of the rutted road, stood the castle itself, dark save for lights in two of its many windows. Some words in foreign tongue passed between... I need to take my glasses off. I gotta take my glasses off for this so I can see the book in front of my face a little better. I'm like mildly farsighted? Nearsighted? I have trouble seeing things that are really far away. So I have glasses to help with that. But it helps if I take them off if I'm trying to read. Anyway, not important. Some words in a foreign tongue passed between my coachman and a person behind the gate. The gate was unlocked from within and swung open slowly, with a long rising shriek of rusted hinges, and the coach passed through. As we drew near, the door of the castle was flung open, and cheery lights spilled out upon the road. The portcullis which I had previously marked was evidently a remnant from older days and now inactive. The coach drew to a halt, and I was greeted with a great gravity by a butler whom I saw to be he had... Wait a minute, hold on. Weird sentence structure. The coach drew to a halt, and I was greeted with great gravity by a butler whom I saw to be he who had carried Maud's invitation to London. I had proffered him a nod of recognition. He acknowledged this and said, Sir Robert, Madame Sardonicus awaits you, and if you will be great enough to follow me, I will take you to her presence. The coachman took charge of my bags, and I followed the butler into the castle. It's the weird blocky S everyone drew in middle school. I really love that concept. that he's just got the big blocky S on everything. It dated, I thought, to the 12th or 13th century. Suits of armor, priceless relics I ascertained them to be, stood about the vast halls. Tapestries were in evidence throughout. Strong, heavy, richly carved furniture was everywhere. The walls were of time-defying stone, great grey blocks of it. I was led into a kind of salon, with comfortable chairs, a tea-table, and a spinet. Maud rose to greet me. "Sir Robert," she said softly, without smiling, "how good to see you at last." I took her hand. "Dear lady," said I, "we meet again." "You're looking well and prosperous," she said. "I am in good health, but just now rather tired from the journey." She gave me leave to sit, and did so herself, venturing the opinion that a meal and some wine would soon restore me. "Mr. Sardonicus will join us soon," she added. I spoke of her appearance, saying that she looked not a day older than when I last saw her in London. This was true in regard to her physical self, for her face bore not a line, her skin was of the same freshness, and her glorious chestnut hair was still rich in color and gleaming with health. But what I did not speak of was the change in her spirit. She who had been so gay and vivacious, so gay and vivacious. She who had been so gay and vivacious, the delight of soirees, was now distant and aloof, of serious mien, unsmiling. I was sorry to see this, but attributed it to the 7 years that had passed since her carefree girlhood, to the loss of her beloved parents, and even to the secluded life she now spent in this place. "I am eager to meet your husband," I said. "And he, Sir Robert, is quite eager to meet you," Maud assured me. "He will be down presently. Meanwhile, do tell me how you have fared in the world." I spoke, with some modesty, I hope, of my successes in my chosen field, of the knighthood I had received from the crown. I had described my London apartment, laboratory, and office. I described how many winner chicken dinners I've gotten shit, that's the wrong thing. Fortnite is Victory Royale. PUBG is winner chicken dinner, isn't it? I fucked up my joke. Never mind. I'm sorry. I failed you. I failed everyone. I described my London apartment, laboratory, and office. I made mention of certain mutual friends and generally gave her news of London life, speaking particularly of the theatre, for I knew Maud had loved it, and describing Mr. Macready's farewell appearance as Macbeth at the Haymarket. When Maud had last been in London, there had been rumours of making an opera house out of Covent Garden Theatre, and I told her that those plans had been carried through. I spoke of the London premiere of Mr. Verity's latest piece at Her Majesty's. Her Majesty's? That's the Queen! She's dead now! Anyway. At my... She fucking died! At my... Recently! Like a few days ago! Anyway. I spoke of the London premiere of Mr. Verity's latest piece at Her Majesty's. At my mention of these theatres and performances, her eyes lit up, but she was not moved to comment until I spoke of the opera. That was such comedic timing that I fucking cackled. Her Majesty, that's the Queen! She died! She's fucking dead! The opera, she sighed. Oh, the opera, she sighed. Oh, Sir Robert, if you could but know how I miss it. The excitement of a premiere, the ladies and gentlemen in their finery, the thrilling sounds of the overture and the curtain rising. She broke off, as if ashamed of her momentary transport. But I receive all the latest scores, and derive great satisfaction from playing them singing them myself. I must order the new Verity from Rome. It is called Irani, you say? I nodded, adding, with your permission, I will attempt to play some of the more distinctive airs. Oh, pray do, Sir Robert, she said. You will find them, perhaps, excessively modern and dissonant. I sat down at the spinet and played, just passably I fear, and with some improvisation, when I could not remember the exact notes, a potpourri of melodies from the opera. She applauded my playing. I urged her to play also, for she was an accomplished keyboard artist, and possessed an agreeable voice as well. she was an accomplished keyboardist. Accomplished. Voice is okay. It's agreeable. It's fine. Not great. She can play a funny little Victorian piano. Can't sing for shit though. So this is just okay. It's very mid. She complied by playing the minuet from Don Giovanni and singing Voces Sapate from Le Nozze de Figaro. As I stood over her, watching her delicate hands move over the keys, hearing her pure, clear tones of her voice, all my old feelings washed over me in a rush, and my eyes smarted at the unalloyed sweetness and goodness of this lady. When she asked me to join her in a duet, Lasci darem le mano, I agreed to do it, although my voice is less than ordinary. On the second signing of the word mano, hand, I was seized by a vagrant impulse and took her left hand in my own. Her playing was hampered, of course, and the music limped for a few measures, and then, my face burning, I released her hand and we finished out the duet. Wisely, she neither rebuked me for my action nor gave me encouragement. Rather, she acted as if the rash gesture had never been committed. I accidentally... Oh my god! Stream! Why? What's happening? God damn it. Why is my stream getting weird? Oh no. Oh no. Oh dear. Wait a minute. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? No! My stream died. What the shit? Wait a minute. Okay, let's try that again. Let's try it again. Are we doing that? Are we cool? I think my stream like actually fucking did a big die. We're good? Are we good? Are we doing it? Had to reload? Okay. Alright. As long as we're doing... Okay, as long as we're still good. Oof. And your stream timer reset. Motherfucker! Not my stream timer! That's okay. I like how the VOD recording is still going to have all this in, so the VOD is going to have me just being like, what the fuck? What happened to the stream? Why did it die? Why did it die? Stream, why did you die? Why did the stream die? Alright, let's get back to it. I don't know when that streamed, so I might back up a little bit. No, I don't even have to back up a little bit. Our homie was playing the funny little Victorian piano with his old crush, and then he was like, I'm gonna touch her hand, and then he did it, and then it was really embarrassing, and then he took it back, and then she just pretended it didn't happen. My homie Cargrave was real cringe. He did a real cringe. To mask my embarrassment, I now embarked upon some light chatter, designed to ease whatever tension existed between us. I spoke of many things, foolish things, for the most part, and even asked if Mr. Sardonicus had later demonstrated any of the jealousy she had said in her letter that she had erroneously thought him to have exhibited. She laughed at this, and it brightened the room, for it was the first time her face had abandoned its grave expression. Indeed, I was taken by the thought that this was the first display of human merriment that I had marked since stepping into the coach. And she said, oh no, to the contrary. Mr. Sardonicus said that the closer we had been in the old days, the more he would be pleased. This seemed an odd and even coarse thing for a man to say to his wife, and I jovially replied, I hope Mr. Sardonicus was smiling when he said that. At once, Maud's smile vanished from her face. She looked away from me and began to talk of other things. I was dumbfounded. Had my innocent remark given offense? It seemed not possible. A moment later, however, I knew the reason for her strange action. For a tall gentleman entered the room with a gliding step, and one look at him explained many things. Part 3. To Smile Forever. Sir Robert Cargrave, he asked, but he spoke with difficulty. Certain sounds, such as the B in Robert and the V in Cargrave, being almost impossible for him to utter. I wonder, can I try and work that in there? So he can't say B's and he can't do V's. Sir Robert Cargrave. Sir Robert Cargrave. To shape these sounds, the lips must be used, and the gentleman before me was the victim of some terrible affliction that had caused his lips to be pulled perpetually apart from each other, baring his teeth in a continuously ghastly smile. It was the same mirthless grin I had seen once before, on the face of a person in the last throes of lockjaw. We physicians have a name for that chilling grimace, a Latin name, and as it entered my mind, it seemed to dispel yet another mystery, for the term we use to describe the lockjaw smile is risus sardonicus. A pallor approaching phosphorescence completed his astonishing appearance. "Yes," I replied, covering my shock at the sight of his face. "Do I have the pleasure of addressing Mr. Sardonicus?" We shook hands. He wore a ring on one finger. The stone, I noted, was a sardonyx. Because, of course, this motherfucker has to keep everything in theme. He has to have his goddamn logo and theming all over everything like he's fucking Cobra Commander. After an exchange of courtesies, he said, I wonder, can I give this guy a voice that I can work with, given that he's, like, speaking with no lips? "I have ordered dinner to be served in the large dining hall an hour hence. In the meantime, my valet will show you to your rooms, for I am sure you will wish to refresh yourself after your journey." "You are most kind." The valet appeared, a man of grave countenance, like the butler and the coachman, and I followed him up a long flight of stone stairs. As I walked behind him, I reflected on the unsmiling faces in this castle, and no longer were they things of wonder. For who would be disposed to make a smile under the same roof with him who must smile forever? You just have to speak like L. Ron Hubbard. The most spontaneous of smiles would seem a mockery in the presence of that afflicted face. I was filled with pity for Maud's husband. Of all God's creatures, man alone is blessed with the ability to smile, but for the master of Castle Sardonicus, God's great blessing had become a terrible curse. As a physician, my pity was tempered with professional curiosity. His smile resembled the risus of lockjaw, but lockjaw is a mortal disease, and Mr. Sardonicus, his skullish grin notwithstanding, was very much alive. I felt shame for some of my early uncharitable thoughts toward this gentleman, for surely such an unfortunate could be forgiven much. What bitterness must fester in his breast! What sharp despair gnawed his inwards! My rooms were spacious, and certainly as comfortable as this dank stone housing could afford. A hot tub was prepared. A hot tub? A hot tub? Motherfucker got a hot tub in this place? Damn, boy, you got hot tubs in this castle? They got fucking hot tubs? A hot tub was prepared, for which my tired and dusty frame was most grateful. As I lay in it, I began to experience the pleasant pangs of appetite. I looked forward to dinner. After my bath, I put on fresh linen and a suit of evening clothes. Then, taking from my bag 2 small gifts for my host and hostess, a bottle of scent for Maud, a box of cigars for her husband, I left my rooms. I was not so foolish as to expect to find my way unaided to the main dining hall, but To the main dining hall, but since I was early, I intended to wander a bit and let the ancient magnificence of the castle impress itself on me. Tapestries bearing my host's S were frequently displayed. They were remarkably new, their colors fresh, unlike the faded grandeur of their fellow tapestries. From this, and from Mr. Sardonicus's lack of title, I deduced that the castle had not been inherited through the family line, but merely purchased by him, probably from an impoverished nobleman. Though not titled, Mr. Sardonicus evidently possessed enormous wealth. I pondered its source. My ponderings were interrupted by the sound of Maud's voice. I looked up. The acoustical effects in old castles are often strange. I had marked them in our own English castles, and though I stood near neither room nor door of any kind, I could hear Maud speaking in a distressed tone. I was standing at an open window which overlooked a kind of courtyard. Across the court, a window was likewise open. I took this to be the window of Maud's room. Her voice was in some way being amplified and transported by the circumstantial shape of the courtyard and the positions of the two windows. By listening very attentively, I could make out most of her words. She was saying, "I shan't. You must not ask me. It is unseemly." And then the voice of her husband replied, "You shall and will, madam. It is my castle. It is I who decide what is seemly or unseemly, not you." I was embarrassed at overhearing this private discussion on what was obviously a painful subject, so I made to draw away from the window that I might hear no more, but was restrained by the sound of my own name on Maud's lips. "I have treated Sir Robert with courtesy," she said. "You must treat him with more than courtesy." "Oh, wait, no. You must treat him with more than courtesy," Mr. Sardonicus responded. "You must treat him with warmth. You must rekindle in his breast those affections he felt for you in other days." I could listen no longer. The exchange was vile. I had no idea that Mr. Sardonicus was basically a fucking cuck. Mr. Sardonicus was into some freaky shit, and his wife was like, "I'm not doing that," and he was like, "You gotta do it. It's the only way I fucking get hard anymore. I just want to see my wife get fucking plowed." That's so weird to try and do that with that voice. I'm gonna have some water. Hold on. Yeah, what a punk ass. I could listen no longer. The exchange was vile. I drew away from the window. What manner of creature was this Sardonicus who threw his wife into the arms of other men? As a practitioner of medicine, a man dedicated to healing the ills of humankind, I had brought myself to learn many things about the minds of men, as well as about their bodies. I fully believed that, in some future time, physicians would heal the body by way of the mind, for it is in that terra incognita that all secrets lie hidden. Cargrave, I hate to tell you this, we're still working on that. We're getting there, but we're still working on it. Unfortunately, one of the mental health, we're not quite there yet. We're getting there, not there yet. I knew that love has many masks, masks of submission and of oppression, and even more terrible masks that make nature a stranger to herself, and turn the truth of God into a lie, as St. Paul wrote. There is even a kind of love, if it can be elevated by that name, that derives its keenest pleasure from the sight of the beloved in the arms of another. Oh, wow, he's literally just like, yeah. Yo, this Sardonicus, he's a cuck. Being an absolute cuckold over here. These are unpleasant observations, which may one day be codified and studied by healers, but which until then may not be thought on for too long, lest the mind grow morbid and stagger under its load of repugnance. With a heavy heart, I sought out a servant and asked to be taken to the dining hall. It was some distance away, and by the time I arrived there, Sardonicus and his lady were already at the table awaiting me. Ye old cuck. Ye olden cuck. Right, Sardonicus there was already there. He arose, and with that revolting smile indicated a chair. She also arose, and took my arm, addressing me as "Dear Sir Robert," and leading me to my place. Her touch, which at any previous time would have gladdened me, I now found distinctly not to my liking. A hollow joviality hung over the dinner table throughout the meal. Maud's laughter struck me as giddy and false. Giddy and false. It struck me as gritty. I hit that. She struck me as hitting that gritty. Sardonicus drank too much wine, and his speech became even more indistinct. I contrived to talk on trivial subjects, repeating some anecdotes about the London theatre which I had hitherto related to Maud, and describing Mr. Macready's interpretation of Macbeth.
Some actors, said Sardonicus, interpret the Scottish chieftain as a creature compounded of pure evil, unmingled with good qualities of any kind. Such interpretations are often criticized by those who feel no human being can be so unremittingly evil. Do you agree, Sir Robert?
No, I said evenly. Then, looking Sardonicus full in the face, I added, I believe it is entirely possible for a man to possess not a single one of the virtues, to be a demon in human flesh. Quickly I embarked upon a discussion of the character of Iago, who took ghoulish delight in tormenting his fellow man. The dinner was, I suppose, first-rate, and the wine an honourable vintage, but I confess to tasting little of what was placed before me. At the end of the meal, Maud left us for a short time, and Sardonicus escorted me into the library, whither he ordered brandy to be brought. He opened the box of cigars, expressed his admiration of them, of them and gratitude for them, and offered them to me. I took one, and we both smoked. I don't know how he smoked a cigar when he has no control over his lips, but just go ahead and try to figure out that mental picture for y'all. I'm just imagining he's holding it between his teeth, and he's just like, I love cigars. The smoking of the cigar made Sardonicus look even more grotesque, being unable to hold it in his lips. He clenched it in his constantly oh my god, he literally is just holding it in his mouth like a clamp. Just chomps on it like a big old sausage. The smoking of the cigar made Sardonicus look even more grotesque, being unable to hold it in his lips. He clenched it in his constantly visible teeth, creating an unique spectacle. Brandy was served, and I partook of it freely, though I am not customarily given to heavy drinking, for now I deemed it to be beneficial to dampen my spirits.
You used the word ghoulish a few moments ago, Sir Robert, said Sardonicus. It is one of those words one uses so easily in conversation. One utters it without stopping to think of its meaning. But in my opinion, it is not a word to be used lightly. When one uses it, one should have in one's mind a firm, unwavering picture of a ghoul.
Perhaps I did, I said.
Perhaps, he admitted. And perhaps not. Let us obtain a precise definition of the word.
He arose and walked to one of the bookcases that lined the room's walls. He reached for a large 2-volume dictionary.
Let me see, he murmured. We desire volume 1, from A to N, do we not? Now then, gherkin, ghetto, goom. An odd word, Sir Robert? To search for game in the dark. Ghost, ghoul. Among Eastern nations, an imaginary evil
Okay, yeah, oof. Because like I'm trying to do his voice the way that I think he would sound, considering he has no control over his lips and they're pulled back. But I'm having to take some creative liberties here and there, or else you won't even know what word he's trying to say. I have the words in front of me. You do not.
Among Eastern nations, an imaginary evil being who robs graves and feeds upon corpses. One might say, then, that he gooms.
Sardonicus chuckled. He returned to his chair and helped himself to more brandy.
When you described Iago's actions as ghoulish, he continued, did you think of him as the inhabitant of an Eastern nation, or an imaginary being as against the reality of Othello and Desdemona? And did you mean seriously to suggest that it was his custom to rob graves, and then to feed upon the disgusting nourishment he found within?
I use the word in a figurative sense, I reply. I was using the term ironically.
Ah, said Sardonicus. That is because you are English and do not believe in ghouls. Were you a Middle European as I am, you would believe their existence and would not be tempted to use the word other than literally. In my country, I was born in Poland.
I was born in Poland, that's what he's saying.
I was born in Poland. We understood such things. I, in point of fact, have known a ghoul.
He paused for a moment and looked at me, then said,
You English are so blasé. Nothing shocks you.
So he says I sit here, but it's absolutely going to come out as I shit here.
I sit here and tell you a thing of dreadful import, and you do not even blink your eyes. Can it be because you do not believe me?
It would be churlish to doubt the word of my host, I replied.
And an Englishman may be many things, but never a churl, Sir Robert? Let me refill your glass, my friend, and then let me tell you about ghouls, which, by the way, are by no means imaginary, as that stupid lexicon would have us think, and which we are not restricted to Eastern nations. Neither do they necessarily feed upon the carrion flesh, although they are most interested, in the repellent contents of graves. Let me tell you a story from my own country, Sir Robert, a story that, if I have any gift at all as a spinner of tales, will create in you a profound belief in ghouls. You will be entertained, I hope. But I also hope you will add to your learning. You will learn, for example, how low a human being can sink, how truly monstrous a man can become.
Ugh. Okay, so I am absolutely not good. So the perspective is about to shift to him. I am not doing that. I'm not doing that for this entire goddamn time. That's not happening. Not doing it. That's not because it would be really hard, but because the entire thing would be fucking indecipherable. Ugh. I'm not a voice actor yet. We'll get there. Ugh. Okay. Maybe we'll see. We'll see. I'll try to figure out a voice for him, but like not that voice. That's all right for when he's in conversation in modern era, but like, I don't think I can do an entire story sounding like that. Part 4, A Graveyard Tale.
You must transport your mind, said Sardonicus, back a few years into a rural region of my homeland. You must become acquainted with a family of country folk, hard-working, law-abiding, God-fearing, of moderate means, the head of which was a simple, good man named Tadeusz Bolowski. He was an even-tempered personage, kindly disposed to all men, the loving husband of a devoted wife and father of 5 strong boys. He was also a firm churchman, seldom even taking the Lord's name in vain. The painted women who plied their trade in certain elaborate houses of the nearest large city of Warsaw held no attraction for him, though several of his masculine neighbors, on their visits to the metropolis, succumbed to such blandishments with tidal regularity. Neither did he drink in excess. A glass of beer with his evening meal, a toast or two in wine on special occasions. No, hard liquor, strong language, fast women, these were not the weaknesses of Tadeusz Bolowski. His weakness was gambling.
Ghoul says Mac. Oh, God.
Make a glass out.
Every
Every month he would make the trip to Warsaw to sell his produce at the markets and to buy certain necessaries for his home, while his comrades visited the drinking and wenching houses. Jews would attend strictly to business affairs, except for one minor deviation. He would purchase a lottery ticket, place it securely in a small, tight pocket of his best waistcoat, which he wore only on Sundays and on his trips to the city, then put it completely out of his mind until the following month, when on reaching the city, when upon reaching the city, he would remove it from his breast pocket and closely scan the posted list of winners. Then, after methodically tearing the ticket to shreds, for Jews never lived to win a lottery, he would purchase another. This was a ritual with him. He performed it every month for 23 years, and the fact that he never won did not discourage him. His wife knew of his habit, but since it was the good man's only flaw, she never remarked upon it. Outside, I could hear the wind howling dismally. I took more brandy as... Oh, shit, wrong guy. Outside, I could hear the wind howling dismally. I took more brandy as Sardonicus continued. Years passed. 3 years of the 5 sons married. 2, Henrik and Marek, the youngest, were still living with their parents when Jews, who had been of sturdy health, collapsed one day in the fields and died. I will spare you an account of the family's grief, for the married sons returned with their wives to attend the obsequies of the burial in the small graveyard of that community. The good man had left few possessions, but these were few divided, according to his written wish among his survivors, with the largest share going, of course, to the eldest son. Though this was his custom, the sons could not help feeling a trifle disgruntled, but they held their peace for the most part, especially the youngest, Marek, who was perhaps the most amiable of them, and a lad who was by nature quiet and interested in improving his lot through the learning he found in books. You're Marek, aren't you? You're 100% Marek. When he was like, oh, and we all went to the eldest son, but the youngest son, he was cool and he was smart and he was great. Oh, I mean, I don't have a personal investment or anything. It's not like I care or anything. It's not like I have a personal attachment. I'm just saying, he was really cool. Surprise, surprise! It was me. Imagine, sir, the amazement of the widow when, a full 3 weeks after the interment of her husband, she received word by men returning from Warsaw that the lottery ticket Jews had purchased had now been selected as the winner. It was a remarkable irony, of course, but conditions had grown hard for the poor woman, and would grow harder with her husband dead, so she had no time to reflect upon that irony. She set about looking through her husband's possessions for the lottery ticket. Drawers were emptied upon the floor, boxes and cupboards were ransacked. The family Bible was shaken out, years before. Jews had been in the habit of temporarily hiding money under a loose floorboard in the bedroom. This cavity was thoroughly but vainly plumbed. The sons were sent for. Among the few personal effects they had been bequeathed, did the ticket languish there, in the snuff-box, in any article of clothing? And at that Sir Robert, the eldest son, leapt up. "An article of clothing!" he cried. "Father always wore his Sunday waistcoat to the city when he purchased the lottery tickets. That very waistcoat in which he was buried." "Yes, yes," the other sons chorused, saving Marek, and plans began to be laid for the exhuming of the dead man. But the widow spoke firmly. "Your father rests peacefully," she said. "He must not be disturbed. No amount of gold would soothe our hearts if we disturbed him." The sons protested with vehemence, but the widow stood her ground. "No son of mine will profane his father's grave, unless he first kills his mother." Grumbling, the sons withdrew their plans, but that night Marek awoke to find his mother gone from the house. He was frightened, for this was not like her. Intuition sent him to the graveyard, where he found her, keeping a lonely vigil over the grave of her husband, protecting him from the greed of grave robbers. Marek implored her to come out from the cold to return home. She at first refused, Only when Merrick offered to keep vigil all night himself did she relent and return home, leaving her youngest son to guard the grave from profanation.
Please don't take out my husband. Fuck you, Mom! Fuck you! I'm gonna go dig up Dad. Fuck you!
Merrick waited a full hour. Then he produced from under his shirt a small shovel. He was a strong boy, and the greed of a youngest son who had been deprived of inheritance lent added strength to his arms. He dug relentlessly, stopping seldom for rest, until finally the coffin was uncovered. He raised the creaking lid. An overpowering fervor filled the nostrils and nearly made him faint. Gathering courage, he searched the pockets of the mouldering waistcoat. The moon proved to be his undoing, Sir Robert, for suddenly its rays, hitherto hidden, struck the face of his father, and at the sight of his face the boy recoiled and went reeling against the wall of the grave, the breath forced from his body. Now you must know this mere sight of his father, even in an advanced state of decomposition, he had steeled himself to withstand, but what he had not foreseen. Here Sardonicus leaned close to me, and his pallid, grinning head filled my vision. What he had not foreseen, my dear sir, was that the face of his father, in the rigour of death, would look directly and hideously upon him. Sardonicus's voice became an Ophidian hiss. And Sir Robert, he added, most terrible and most unforeseen of all, the dead lips were drawn back from the teeth in a constant and soul-shattering smile.
I need some water again. Your father won the lottery, kids. Where's his ticket? Oh shit. Oh my, jeez, I think it's in the fucking suit we buried him in. But let's go get it. Let's go get this ticket. Let's go get it out of them. Let's go get it out of the coffin. We'll get money. And the mom's like, no, we're not going to do that because I love my husband. We're not going to fucking dig up his grave. I wanted to use his lottery ticket, but I was buried with him in his body. And then the youngest son was like, I don't fucking get shit. I never got anything after my fucking dad died. So guess what? I'm going to go out there and I'm going to trick my mom into leaving so that I can dig it up myself. But then I looked at my dad and my dad was like, hee 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 hee. Ooh, I giggle at you. I'm smiling. Go ahead, take the lottery ticket from my pocket. Hoo hee hee hoo. And then he was like, oh my god, oh I'm scared. Oh no, I shit my pants. Oh, my pants are full of poo poo. Anyway, that's exactly what happened. If you weren't paying attention. Part 5. The Remembrance of That Night. I know not whether it was the ghastliness of his story, or the sight of his hideous face so close to mine, or the cheerless keening of the wind outside, or the brandy I had consumed, or all of these in combination, but when Sardonicus uttered those last words, my heart was clutched by a cold hand, and for a moment, a long moment ripped from the texture of time. I was convinced beyond doubt and beyond logic that the face I looked into was the face of that cadaver, reanimated by obscure arts, to walk among the living, dead though not dead. The moment of horror passed at length, and reason triumphed. Sardonicus, considerably affected by his own tale, sat back in his chair, trembling. Before too long, he spoke again. Okay, let's see. All right. I'll whip out his other voice now. The remembrance of that night, Sir Robert, though it is now many years past, fills me still with dread. You will appreciate this when I tell you what you have perhaps already guessed, that I am that ghoulish son, Merrick. And it's just, and then Cargrave is just staring at him like, well, duh. Yeah, I kind of fucking figured, buddy. Why else would you be fucking telling me this? I can put together context clues. I had not guessed it, but since I had no wish to tell him that I had for an instant thought that he was the dead father, I said nothing. Your life story is weird, but okay. Weird, but okay, but still, not a sin.
When my senses returned, said Sardonicus, I scrambled out of the grave and ran as swiftly as my limbs would carry me. I had reached the gate of the graveyard when I was smitten by the fact that I had not accomplished the purchase of my mission. The lottery ticket remained in my father's pocket.
But surely, I started to say.
Surely I ignored the fact and continued to run? No, Sir Robert. My terror notwithstanding, I halted and forced myself to retrace those hasty steps. For my fear notwithstanding, I descended once more into that noisome grave. My disgust notwithstanding, I reached into the pocket of my decaying father's waistcoat and extracted the ticket. I need hardly add that this time I averted my eyes from his face. But the horror was not behind me, indeed. It had only begun. I reached my home at a late hour, and my family was asleep. For this I was grateful, since my clothes were covered with soil, and I still trembled from my fearful experience. I quietly poured water into a basin.
Basin. It's the B's. The B's are going to be so hard to try and enunciate.
I quietly poured water into a basin, we'll call it a basin, and prepared to wash some of the graveyard dirt from my face and hands. In performing my ablutions, I looked up into a mirror and screamed so loudly as to wake the entire house. My face was as you see it now, a replica of my dead father's, the lips drawn back in a perpetual mocking grin. I tried to close my mouth. I could not. The muscles were immovable, as if held in the gelid rigor of death. I could hear my family stirring at my scream, and since I did not wish them to look upon me, I ran from the house, never over to return.
Oh my god. Okay, he's gonna keep talking for a while. I'm gonna switch to. We're gonna go lesser Sardonicus for the rest of this page. I'm gonna dial down the Sardonicus. Because holy shit, this dude talks an awful lot for a dude without fucking lips.
As I wandered the rural roads, my mind sought the cause of the affliction that had been visited upon me. Though but a country lad, I had read much, and I had a blunt, rational mind that was not susceptible to the easy explanations of the supernatural. I would not believe that God had placed a malediction upon me to punish me for my act. I would not believe that some black force from beyond the grave had reached out to stamp my face. At length, I began to believe that it was the massive shock that had forced my face to its present state, and that my great guilt had helped to shape it even as my father's dead face was shaped. Shock and guilt. Strong powers, not from God above or the fiend below, but from within my own breast, my own brain, my own soul. I rhymed. Wasn't that funny? Everybody laugh.
He laughs. He clicks his teeth, and he's just like, give you a little clacky teeth ASMR there. Let me bring this history to a hasty... He does the chatter thing from Hellraiser. That thing scares the shit out of me. I hate the chatter. I hate the chattering thing from Hellraiser. I hate that guy. Fucking freaks me out. the teeth clicky clacky man. Normal as a prominent as a proud monster fucker. That's one of the ones where I'm like, nope, you stay out. You're creepy. I don't like you.
Let me bring this history to a hasty close, Sir Robert. You need only know that, despite my blighted face, I redeemed the lottery ticket and thus gained an amount of money that will not seem large to you, but which was more than I had ever seen that time. It was the fulcrum from which I applied the lever that was to make me, by dint of shrewd speculation, one of the richest men in Central Europe. Naturally, I sought out physicians and begged them to restore my face to its previous state. None succeeded, though I offered them vast sums. My face remained fixed in this damnable, unceasing smile, and my heart knew the most profound despair imaginable. I could not even pronounce my own name. By a dreadful irony, the initial letters of my first and last names were impossible for my frozen lips to form. These seemed the final indignity. I will admit to you that, at this period, I was perilously near the brink of self-destruction. But the spirit of preservation prevailed, and I was saved from that course. I changed my name. I had read of the Rissus Sardonicus, and its horrible aptness appealed to my bitter mind.
Oh, I don't have my book out. Shit. Nope, sorry, man. Come back when you get some wax lips or some shit. Fuck. Yeah, I was reciting this from memory. I'm that good. I'm just pulling this right out of. I don't even need to read this. I'm just pulling it right out of my brain. I'm looking at it, and then I'm like, I just have it. His name was Eater, Jerry. His name was Peter, Vern, Jerry, Jeff, Jerry, Pop. I couldn't even pronounce my own name. Eater. Anyway. Meow, yes, I know. It's time for you to be a loud-ass cat. Can I help you? Is it time to be a loud-ass cat in the middle of my stream again? Okay, apparently not. Nope, there it goes. Anyway. Is it because my back is to you? Do you just not like me not looking at you? It's cat time. It's time to be annoyed with my cat. Spooky, I literally laid out a blanket for you on this chair. There is a comfortable cat indicative spot for you. Fuck you. I love you, but fuck you. I'm gonna start reading again, then she's gonna get mad. So I became Sardonicus, a name I can pronounce with no difficulty. Sardonicus paused and sipped his brandy. You are wondering, he then said, in what way my story concerns you. I could guess, but I said, I am. Sir Robert, he said, you are known throughout the medical world. Most laymen perhaps have not heard of you, but a layman such as I, a layman who avidly follows the medical journals for tidings of any recent discoveries in the curing of paralyzed muscles, has heard of you again and again. Your researches into these problems have earned you high professional regard. Indeed, they have earned you a knighthood. For some time it has been on my mind to visit London and seek you out. I have consulted many physicians, renowned men, Keller in Berlin, Morignac in Paris, Bourgeant in Milan, and none have been able to help me. My despair has been utter. It prevented me from making the long journey to England, and when I heard sublime coincidence that my own wife had been acquainted with you, I took it to heart. Sir Robert, I entreat you to heal me, to lift me from this curse, to make me look once more like a man, that I may walk in the sun again among my fellow human beings, as one of them,
rather than as a fearsome gargoyle to be shunned and feared and ridiculed. Surely you will not deny me.
My feelings for Sardonicus, pendulum-like, again swung towards his favor. His story, his plight, had rent my heart, and I reverted to my earlier opinion that such a man should be forgiven much. The strange, overheard conversation between Maud and him was momentarily forgotten. I said, I will examine you, Mr. Sardonicus. You were right to ask me. We must never abandon hope. He could wear a mask, but he's too MAGA. I was thinking about that. Like, what? Like, what? What? Come on, you're too... What? Are you too much... Or what? Are you too big of a man to just put a mask on? Look, there are so many other men before you who had way more fucked up faces, who, like, just wore a mask and still went out in public, and they were just like, yeah, okay, whatever. And it's just your mouth. It's just your fucking mouth, dude. Like, wear a scarf. Wear something over your mouth. And then if people are like, wow, you wear a scarf everywhere, what's with that? All you have to do is just be like, yo, I got an ugly fucking face. And then they're just like, oh man, that's a bummer. But hey, at least you got a mask on. He'll be like, yeah, it's pretty helpful. So many problems could have been solved. If only I was alive in 1880, I would have solved many problems with my genius. He clasped his hands together. Aye, sir, may you be blessed forever. I performed the examination then and there, although I did not tell him this. Never had I encountered muscles as rigid as those of his face. They could only be compared to stone, so inflexible were they. Still, I said, tomorrow we will begin treatment, heat and massage. These have been tried, he said, hopelessly. Massage differs from one pair of hands to another, I replied. I have had success with my own techniques, and therefore place faith in them. Be comforted then, sir, and share my faith. He seized my hands in his. I do, he said, I must, for if you, even you, Sir Robert Cargrave, fail me. He did not complete the sentence, but his eyes assumed an aspect so bitter, so full of hate, so strangely cold yet flaming, that they floated in my dreams that night. Wear a mask. Wear a mask. It's not hard. Also, spooky. You're being a pest. You're being a nuisance, cat. Can I help you? Why do you always come over and then start like trying to act cute while I'm talking? Why are you like this? Here, come up here. Come up here. You are now in the chair. You are now in the chair, cat. I'm scratching your butt. I'm scratching your butt. I'm vigorously scratching your butt. Now I'm scratching your head. I'm petting you. I'm petting you. I'm petting you. You're being pet. Kitty hears you talking and wants to join in. She thinks it's a conversation. She's just like, I gotta get in on this. Meow. Spooky. Say hi to these people. Don't rub your face on it. Meow. Get pets. Okay, she's gone. It is a conversation. Hey, I'm talking over here. Alright, let's keep going. Part 4. No, wait. 5? No. 4? No. 6? 6. Part 6. I can read Roman numerals. What? Why? Why do you do this every time? Why are you like this? There's a place here for you. Why do you only stop meowing when I look at you? I look away, and then you just don't want to meow no more. Part 6. An Abyss of Humiliation and Shame. Title of my memoirs. I slept not well, awakening many times in a fever compounded of drink and turbulent emotions. When the first rays of morning crept onto my pillow, I arose little refreshed. Sorry, I paused for a second. My neighbors are yelling at each other. I went below. When the first rays of the morning crept onto my pillow, I arose, little refreshed. After a cold tub and a light breakfast in my room, I went below to a salon whence music issued. Maud was already there, playing a pretty little piece on the spinet. She looked up and greeted me. "Good morning, Sir Robert. Do you know the music of Mr. Gottschalk? Gottschalk. Of Mr. Gottschalk. He is an American pianist. This is his Maiden's Blush. Amiable, is it not?" "Most amiable," I replied, dutifully, although I was in no mood for the embroideries of politeness. Of the politesse. Maud soon finished the piece and closed the album. She turned to me and said in a serious tone, "I've been told what you are going to do for my poor husband, Sir Robert. I can scarce express my gratitude." "There is no need to express it," I assured her. "As a physician, as well as your old friend, I could not do less. I hope you understand, however, that a cure is not a certainty. I will try, and I will try to the limit of my powers, but beyond that I can promise nothing." Her eyes shone with supplication. "Oh, cure him, Sir Robert, that I beg of you." "I understand your feelings, madam," I said. "It is fitting that you should hope so fervently for his recovery. A devoted wife could feel no other way." "Oh, sir," she said, and into her voice crept a harshness. "You misunderstand. My fervent hope springs from an unalloyed selfishness." "How may that be?" I asked. "If you do not succeed in curing him," she told me, "I will suffer." "I understand that, but—" No, you do not understand," she said, "but I can tell you little more without offending. Some things are better left unspoken. Suffice it to be said that, in order to urge you towards an ultimate effort, to the limit of your powers, as you have just said, my husband intends to hold over your head the threat of my punishment." "This is monstrous," I cried. It cannot be tolerated. But in what manner, pray, would he dare punish you? Surely he would not beat you." "I wish he would be content with a mere beating," she groaned. "But his cleverness knows a keener torture. No, he holds over me, and over you, through me, a punishment far greater. A punishment, believe me, so loathsome to the sensibilities, so unequivocally vile and degraded, that my mind shrinks from contemplating it. He will make me sit and watch a free streaming service, and not even one of the ones that's sort of okay, but like one of the shitty ones that you get off your Roku, and it's just nothing but ads and old reruns of garbage. And it'll make me sit through Pureflix. Oh, sweet Lord, not Pureflix. Oh, the pain, oh, the absolute torture." "Spare me your further questions, sir, I implore you, for to describe it would plunge me into an abyss of humiliation and shame." She broke into sobbing, and tears coursed down her cheeks. No longer able to restrain my tender feelings for her, I flew to her side and took her hands in mine. "Maud," I said, "may I call you that? In the past I addressed you only as Miss Randall, and at present I may only call you Madame Sardonicus, but in my heart, then as now, you always have been, you always will be simply Maud, my own dear Maud." "Robert," she sighed, "dearest Robert, I have yearned to hear my Christian name from your lips all these long years." "The warmth we feel," I said, "may never with honor reach fulfillment, but trust me, dearest Maud, I will in some wise just absolutely crank my hog tonight, and I'll be thinking of you. Just nothing but you. I'll be absolutely fucking waxing that pole. I'll be shining that sword. I'll be fucking revving that engine in the tub tonight, and I'll be like, oh man, Maud, hell yeah. We can't fucking go for it. We can't express our love for each other, but I can absolutely rub one out to your thought." This is foul. I hate this. I'm striking this joke from the record. But trust me, dearest Maud, I will in some wise deliver you from the tyranny of that creature, this I vow. I have no hope, she said, save in you. Whether I go on as I am, or am subjected to an unspeakable horror, rests with you. My fate is in your hands, these strong, healing hands, Robert. Her voice dropped to a whisper. Fail me not, oh, fail me not. Govern your fears, I said. Return to your music. Be of good spirits, or, if you cannot, make a show of it. I go now to treat your husband, and also to confront with him what you have told me. Do not! Do not, I beseech you! Robert, lest in the event of your failure, he... Oh my god, my neighbors will not stop yelling at each other. Holy shit. Fucking calm down. Other people live here. Don't squeal on me. Don't squeal on me, Cargrave. I'm good. I will tell the teacher. No, do not tell the teacher. Very well, I said. I will not speak of this to him, but my heart aches to learn the nature of the torments you fear. Ask no more, Robert, she said, turning away. Go to my husband, cure him, then I will no longer fear those torments. I pressed her dear hand and left the salon. Sardonicus awaited me in his chambers. Thither quantities of hot water and stacks of towels had been brought by the servants upon my orders. Sardonicus was stripped to the waist, displaying a trunk strong and of good musculature, but with the same near phosphorescent pallor of his face. It was, I now understood, the pallor of one who has avoided daylight for years. As you see, sir, he greeted me, I am ready for your ministrations. I bade him recline on his couch and began the treatment. Never have I worked so long with so little reward. After alternating applications of heat and massage, over a period of 3¼ hours, I made no progress. The muscles of his face were stiff as marble. They had not relaxed for an instant. I was mortally tired. He ordered our luncheon brought to us in his chambers, and after a short respite, I began again. The clock told 6 when I at last sank into a chair, shaking with exhaustion and strain. His face was as exactly as before. What remains to be done, sir? He asked me. I will not deceive you, I said. It is beyond my skill to alleviate your condition. I can do no more. He rose swiftly from the couch. You must do more, he shrieked. You are my last hope. Are my last hope. Okay, so if I tried to read that, like, without using the P noise, P noise, I feel like that would come out like, you are my last hoe. You are my last hoe. P noise. P noise. Sir, I said, new medical discoveries are ever being made. Place your trust in him who created you. Cease that detestable gibberish at once, he snapped. Your hulling sentiments sicken me. Resume the treatment. I refused. I have applied all my knowledge, all my art to your affliction, I assured him. I showed up, I rubbed your face a little bit, and I went, well, that's all I can do. And hello, actual cartoon dog. Welcome in. By the way, this is a story about a dude's face who's, like, frozen in, like, a big ugly smile, and this dude's trying to help him. But, like, big ugly smile face dude is an asshole. And that's really all you need to know in order to be caught up. That's pretty much it. He's got a big dumb smile on his face, and it sucks, and he's a jerk. And then also his, didn't his mama tell him his face would freeze that way? Yeah, you'd think it would have done something. And I've also been reading his voice with, like, my lips, like, kind of pulled back, so he kind of, like, borderline is kind of, like, hard to understand. But I'm trying to see if I can do it, like, just speaking through my teeth. I refused. I have applied all my knowledge, all my art to your affliction, I assured him. To resume the treatment would be idle and foolish, for, as you have divined, the condition is a product of your own mind. At dinner last night,
countered Sardonicus. We spoke of the character of Macbeth. Do you not remember the words he addressed to his doctor? Canst thou not minister to a mind diseased, pluck from the memory a rooted sorrow, raise out the written troubles of the brain, and with some sweet oblivious antidote cleanse the stuffed blossom of the perilous stuff which weighs upon the heart?
I remember them, I said, and I remember as well the doctor's reply, therein the patient must minister to himself. I arose and started for the door.
One moment, Sir Robert, he said.
I turned.
Forgive my precipitate,
I've said this word like 3 times now. This isn't hard.
Forgive my precipitate outburst a moment ago. However, the mental nature of my affliction notwithstanding, and even though this mode of treatment has failed, surely there are other treatments.
None, I said, that have been sufficiently tested. None I would venture to use upon a human body.
Ah, he cried, then other treatments do exist.
I shrugged. Think not of them, sir. They are at present unavailable to you. I pitied him, and I added, I am sorry.
Doctor, he said, I implore you to use whatever treatments exist, be they ever so untried.
They are fraught with danger, I said.
Danger, he laughed. Danger of what? Of disfigurement? Surely no man has ever been more disfigured than I.
Excuse me. There's a guy out there, he's called the Phantom of the fucking Opera. And I think his face got like 10 times more fucked up than yours, pal. And he didn't whine about it. He didn't fucking cry about it. He put on a fucking mask, and then he like haunted a fucking opera for a gorillion years. He had a hobby. He had a life. And he was pretty cool with it. He made it work. He made it work for him, and he had a perfectly reasonable life. Oh, he did whine. He did whine a lot, actually. That's true. I think the Phantom whined like always. Okay, that's my fault. I haven't actually watched, read, or like listened to Phantom of the Opera before. I just assumed he was ugly. I think the whole point of the play was him being unreasonable. All right, never mind. Point Sardonicus, 0 for 0 Phantom of the Opera.
Danger, he laughed. Danger of what? Of disfigurement? Surely no man has ever been more disfigured than I. Of death? I am willing to gamble my life.
I am not willing to gamble your life, I said. All lives are precious, even yours.
Sir Robert, I will pay you £1,000.
This is not a question of money.
£5,000, Sir Robert. 10,000.
No. He sank onto the couch.
Very well, he said. Then I will offer you the ultimate inducement.
Were it £1,000,000, I said, you could not sway me.
The inducement I speak of, he said, is not money. Will you hear?
I sat down. Speak, sir, I said, since that is your wish. But nothing will persuade me to use a treatment that might cost you your life.
I will suck your dick.
I gotta tell you, Sardonicus, gotta tell you, with the kind of face you got going on, I don't think I want your mouth anywhere near my pee-pee, okay? Actually, you know what? This is as good a time as any. To show you something here. Let's go on another trip. So there was a movie made about this a while back, and be careful. This dude's got an ugly fucking... This dude. Like, this is the mug. This is his face in the movie. He's a little hard to... That's from Twilight Zone. I kind of love him. He's just like... Okay, that's enough of that. I just wanted to show you that. I just wanted to show you what he looked like in the movie. He looks like moderately unfortunate. Yeah. I've seen worse disabled people IRL. That's kind of what makes him such a fucking wiener. Is that, like, come on. Come on. You could, that's not hard. You could, there's ways around that. Come on. Wear a fucking scarf. Wear a scarf. Wear a bandana. It's not hard. It's, come on. Come on. Come on, buddy. You could come up with a better solution than this. All right. So, let's find out what he's going to try. Have you tried contouring? Have you tried wearing a bag on your head? I sat down. Speak, sir, I said, since that is your wish. But nothing will persuade me to use a treatment that might cost you your life. Sir Robert, he said after a pause, yestereve, when I came down to meet you for the first time, I heard a happy sounds in the salon. You were singing a charming melody with my wife. Later I could not help but notice the character of your glances towards her. They were not reciprocated, sir, I told him, and herewith I offer you a most abject apology for my unbecoming conduct. A modern version of this story would be really easy, though. He could just wear a face mask. Like, I sneak into my parents' tomb. I take out the lottery ticket that was in his pocket. He has a horrible smiley face, and I go, wow, oh no, I'm scared, oh no. And then I'm suddenly, like, I have a weird goofy smile on my face forever. Oh well, time to put on a scarf, or a mask, or a face mask. Now, especially now that we've been through the plague times, nobody questions a mask anymore. So you could just wear a fucking mask. It's not hard. Dunny goes spin. Yeah, I spin now. I updated OBS and now I can do whee! You spin me right round, baby, right round, like a record, baby, right round, round. You spin me right. Dunny knife spin. Wah! I'm gonna start spinning like this, and if you walk into me, it's your own fault. Danger, Dunny. Hold on. Now I'm doing sick, like, Matrix kung fu shit. Pew 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 pew. Wait, hold on a second. Look out, Mr. President! I'm trying. Look out, Mayor McCheese! They're incoming! Oh God. Oh, I'm gonna have some fun with that. Oh God. Okay. Look, a man with a weird face. Yeah, that would be it. That'd be all that happens. In the modern times, they'd just be like, yeah, that dude has a weird face. Oh, okay. So Sardonicus was like, yo, I saw you making moves on my woman, and then Cargrave was like, yeah, but, like, it didn't go anywhere, so, you know, I'm sorry. And then he was like, nah, hold on. You obscure my point, he said. You are a friend of hers from the old days in London. At that period, you felt an ardent affection for her, I would guess. This is not surprising, for she is a lady whose face and form promise voluptuous delights, and yet a lady whose manner is most decorous and correct. I would guess further that your ardor has not diminished over the years, that at the sight of her the embers must have burst into flame. No, sir, hear me out. What would you say, Robert, were I to tell you that you may quench that flame? I frowned. Your meaning, sir? Must I speak even more plainly?
I am offering you a golden opportunity to requite the love that burns in your heart, to requite it in a single night, if that shall suffice you, or over an extended period of weeks, months, a year, if you will, as long as you need.
Scoundrel! I roared, leaping up. He heeded me not, but went on speaking.
As my guest, Sir Robert, I offer you a veritable oriental paradise of unlimited raptures.
He laughed, then entered into a catalogue of his wife's excellences.
Consider, sir, he said, that matchless bosom, that alabaster which has been imbued with the pink of the rose, those creamy limbs.
Enough, I cried. I will hear no more of your foulness. I strode to the door. Yeah, right? He's just like, please, please cure my face. I will let you fuck my wife. Please fuck my wife. Dude, bruh, homie, home skillet, brother. Fuck my wife. Yo, homie, you gotta fuck my wife. Fuck my fucking wife. Do it. Fuck my wife.
Yes, you will, Sir Robert, he said immediately. You will hear a good deal more of my foulness. You will hear what I plan to do to your beloved Maud should you fail to relieve me of this deformity.
Again I stopped and turned. I said nothing, but waited for him to speak further.
I perceive I have caught your interest, he said. Hear me, for if you think I spoke foully before, you shall soon be forced to agree that my earlier words were by comparison as blameless as a work of common prayer. If rewards do not tempt you, then threats may coerce you. In fine, Maud will be punished if you fail, Sir Robert.
She is an innocent.
Just so. Hence, the more exquisite and insupportable to you should be through
just so. Hence, the more exquisite and insupportable you should be the thought of her punishment. This is an elaborate start to a Pornhub video. My mind reeled. I could not believe such words were being uttered.
Deep in the bowels of this old castle, said Sardonicus, are dungeons. Suppose I were to tell you that my intention is to drag my wife thither and stretch her smooth body to undurable length upon the rack.
You would not dare, I cried.
My darling, my daring or lack of it is not the issue here. I speak of the rack only that I may go on to assure you that Maud will infinitely prefer that dreadful machine to the punishment I had in truth designed for her. I will describe it to you. You will wish to be seated, I think.
Yeah, a normal blunt. Yeah, it's just got a fucking weird sex dungeon, right? What a dweeb. What a fucking dweeb this guy is. Like, I'm gonna go with, like, the movie Emmett. Who clicked me? What is this? What have you done? What is this? Oh, no. Fuck my wife. Oh, sweet Lord. Oh, my God. Oh, fuck. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's fucking good. Hold on. One more time. Can you guys hear it? Fuck my wife. Holy shit. Oh my God, that was beautiful. That was such good timing. Oh my God. brother. Fuck my wife. All right. All right, let's... Oh, man. All right, let's see what fucking Sardonicus has in plan in his fucking lameoid sex dungeon. Part 7, Entertainment for a Monster. I will stand, I said. As you please, Sardonicus sat down. Perhaps you have marveled at the very fact of Maud's marriage to me, when the world was so full of personable men like yourself who adored her. Party rockers in the house. Adored her. Why did she choose to wed a monster, a creature abhorrent to the eyes, and who did not, moreover, have any redeeming grace or spiritual beauty or kindness or charm? Probably because she's a fucking monster funker. She was cool with it. She was like, hey, you look fucking weird. I'm into it. The only problem is you're an asshole. So you're a fucking twat. She was like attracted. She was like into it. She was like, yo, you got a fucked up face. I'm into it. But then you were like, oh, I'm going to be a huge dick about it. And then she's like, well, now it's, I'd rather, I'll even take you unfucked up. At this point, I just want you to stop being a little bitch. Okay, he's going to be talking a lot, so we're going to switch back to lesser Sardonicus voice. I first met Maud Randall in Paris. I say met, but it would be truer simply to say I saw her, from my hotel window, in fact. Even in Paris society, which abounds in ladies of remarkable pulchritude, she was to be remarked upon. You perhaps would say I fell in love with her, but I dislike that word love. I hate that word love. And pulchritude? It's... Okay, fine. We're going on another... Hold on. We got a field trip again so I can look this up. I gotta look up this word. Pulchritude. The irresistible pulchritude of her friend. What the fuck does it mean? Oh, beauty. Okay, there it is. Right there. That feel when you're pulchritudinous. He's just saying she hot. I looked at her and I was like, damn. And then I started clicky-clacking my teeth and I went, nang, 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 nang. You perhaps would say I fell in love with her, but I dislike that word love, and will merely say that the sight of her smote my senses with most agreeable emphasis. It made my pee-pee very hard. Oh wait, I don't have my book out. That's my knife. There's my book. I decided to make her mine. But how? By presenting my irresistibly handsome face to her view? Hardly. I began methodically. I hired secret operatives to find out everything about her and about her mother and her father, both of whom were then alive. I discovered that her father was in the habit of speculating, so I saw to it that he received some supposedly trustworthy but very bad advice. He speculated heavily, and was instantly ruined. I must admit I had not planned his consequent suicide, but when that melancholy event occurred, I rejoiced, for it worked to my advantage. I presented myself to the bereaved widow and daughter, telling them the excellent qualities of Mr. Randall were widely known in the world of affairs, and that I considered myself almost a close friend. Yeah, wow, this guy's a creep. What a shocker. Yeah, he's an asshole. But I'll tell you this. Let me tell you this, chat. Let me tell you this. We've read a lot of stories on here where the shit-headed bad guy doesn't get, like, enough of a comeuppance. I did my research on this one. And I'll tell you this. The ending to it, I think you'll like it. I think you'll like it. For as much as a creep as this dude is, the end of this, I think, is rather satisfying. So you'll see. You'll see. But when that melancholy event occurred, I rejoiced, for it worked to my advantage. I presented myself to the bereaved widow and daughter,
telling them the excellent qualities of Mr. Randall were widely known in the world of affairs, and that I considered myself almost a close friend. I offered to help them in any possible way, by dint of excessive humility and persuasiveness. I won their trust and succeeded in diminishing their aversion to my face. This, you must understand, from first to last, occupied a period of many months. I spoke nothing of marriage, made no sign of affection towards the daughter for at least 6 of these months. When I did again, with great respect and restraint, she gently refused me. I retreated gracefully, saying only that I hoped I might remain her and her mother's friend. She replied that she sincerely shared that hope, for although she could never look upon me as an object of love, she indeed considered me a true friend. The mother, who pined excessively after the death of the father, soon expired, another incident, unplanned but welcomed by me. Now the lovely child was alone in the world, in a foreign city, with no money, no one to guide her, no one to fall back upon, save kindly Mr. Sardonicus. I waited many weeks, and then I proposed marriage again. For several days she continued to decline the offer, but her declinations grew weaker and weaker, until at length on one day she said this to me: "Sir, I esteem you highly as a friend and benefactor, but my other feelings toward you have not changed. If you could be satisfied with such a singular condition, if you could agree to enter into marriage with a lady and yet look upon her as no more than a companion of kindred spirit, if the prospect of a dispassionate and childless marriage does not repulse you, as well it might, then, sir, my unhappy circumstances would compel me to accept your kind offer." Instantly I told her my regard for her was of the purest and most elevated variety, and that the urgings of the flesh were unknown to me. Diversity loss. The scary smile man is asexual. Diversity win? Diversity loss? That I lived on a spiritual plane and desired only her sweet and stimulating companionship through the years. All this, of course, was a lie. Oh, now it's a real diversity loss because he was lying. That dude wants to get his hog, absolutely, hogged. I don't know. The diametrically opposite was true, but I hoped by this falsehood to lure her into a marriage, after which, by slow and strategic process, I could bring about her submission and my rapture. She still was hesitant, for, as she frankly told me, she believed that love was a noble and integral part of a marriage, and that marriage without it could only be a hollow thing, and that though I knew not the urgings of the flesh, she could not with honesty say the same of herself. Yet she reiterated that, so far as my own person was concerned, a platonic relationship was all that could ever exist between us. I calmed her misgivings, and we were married not long after. And now, Sir Robert, I will tell you a surprising thing. Did you know? Fun fact. Today on Did You Know Gaming, that in Mario 64, if you do a jumpy jump and then do a flippity do, you get to see Mario's bare ass. And now, Robert, I will tell you a surprising thing. I have confessed myself partially to earthly pleasures. As a physician and as a man of the world, you are aware that a gentleman of strong appetites may not curb them for very long without fomenting turmoil and distress in his bosom. And yet, sir, not once in the years of our marriage, not once, I say, have I been able to persuade or cajole my wife into relenting and breaking the stringent terms of our marriage agreement. The more we read of this, the more I 100% believe this man is a cuck. This man is like, my wife won't touch me, but I will 100% offer her up to another dude. He just doesn't even get his face cured. He's just like, please fuck my wife. Please fuck my wife. I can't do it. I'm gonna live vicariously through you. Please fuck my wife. Each time I have attempted, she has recoiled from me with horror and disgust. This is not because of an abhorrence of all fleshly things, by her own admission, but because of my monstrous face.
The whole face thing is absolutely an elaborate excuse to draw in a bull. Oh god, no. Oh jeez.
Perhaps now you will better understand the vital necessity for this cure, and perhaps you will also understand the full extent of Maud's suffering should you fail to effect that cure. For mark me well, if you fail, my wife will be made to become a true wife to me by main force, and not for one fleeting hour, but ew, 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 I'm realizing what he's saying. Ew. Well, I mean, we kind of saw that coming, though, didn't we? We kind of figured that's what he was leaning towards. That he's gonna be a fucking freakazoid about it. Yeah, I'm gonna skip a couple of sentences here. Like, it's not bad. It's not, like, horribly explicit, but the implication is pretty bad. Machine elves, basically, Smiley Man, he's more or less saying that, like, if you don't stay here and cure my stupid face disease, then I'm gonna do things to my wife, and you're gonna feel really bad about it, so you better fix me. That's pretty much what he's saying. Naturally, I don't want to say it out loud, but yeah, he's gonna be a very nasty man. He's gonna be a very, very nasty man. But I was telling the others earlier that I investigated this. I looked into its ending. I looked into it. He's a creep, but the ending is rather satisfying in my opinion. The implications of what happens to this fucker in the end is pretty good. So I'm gonna keep going. The boys fuck at the end. Yeah, he finally lets go of his issues, and he's like, I'm actually in love with Cargrave. And the two men just fuck. I had been shocked into silence. I could only look upon him with disbelief. He spoke again. If you deem it a light punishment, Sir Robert, then you do not know the depth of her loathing for my person. You do not know the revulsion that wells up inside her when I place my fingers upon her arm. You do not know what mastery of her very gorge is required of her when I kiss her hand. Sorry, I read the word gorge, and I was like, that better not mean what I think it means, and it wasn't, so we're fine. Think, then. Think of the abomination she would feel were my attentions to grow more ardent, more demanding. It would unseat her mind, sir. Of that I am sure, for she would soon embrace a reptile. Sardonicus arose and put on his shirt. I suggest we both begin dressing for dinner, he said. Whilst you are dressing, reflect. Ask yourself, dear Robert, could you ever look upon yourself with other than shame and loathing if you were to sacrifice the beautiful and blameless Maud Randall on an altar of the grossest depravity? Consider how ill you would sleep in your London bed night after night, knowing what she was suffering at that very moment, suffering because you abandoned her, because you allowed her to become an entertainment for a month. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, you fucking emo nerd. Yeah, cool. Okay, we're not that far away from the end. It's pretty fucked up. She's a plot. Yeah, exactly. Just like Cargrave being like, it's kind of fucked that you're turning her into a plot device. She was almost a character. Alright. Part 8. A token of detestation. We are close to the end, though. The days that passed after that time were in the main tedious, yet filled with anxiety. During them, certain supplies were being brought from London and other places. Sardonicus spared no expense in procuring for me everything I said was necessary to the treatment. By the way, you could kill this guy. You're a doctor. You know, like, I don't know, 50 different ways to kill a dude? Fucking be like, okay, he'll be like, okay, I'm gonna inject this thing into your face, and it'll help heal you, and it'll be totally fine and good. And then have it turn out to be full of piss or something, you know? Have it full of bleach, air. Fucking be like, I'm gonna stick this syringe full of ants into your balls, and it'll work to cure your face, and you won't even fucking question it. It'll just be like, okay. Oh no, I gave you 40 cc's of death juice.
Oh no, I accidentally gave you bonitis. Just fucking kill him. It's not hard. You're a doctor. You could just kill him. This isn't a dude who needs to live. Just kill him. Stick the syringe of ants into your balls. What sentence? Yes. I did just kind of pull that out of my ass. During them, certain supplies were brought from London and other places. Sardonicus spared no expense in procuring for me everything I said was necessary to the treatment. I avoided his society as much as I could, shunning even his table, and instructing the servants to bring my meals to my rooms. On the other hand, I'd sought out the company of Maud, endeavoring to comfort her and to allay her fears. In those hours when her husband was occupied with business affairs, we talked together in the salon and played music. Thus they were days spotted with small pleasures that seemed the greater for having been snatched in the shadow of wretchedness. I grew to know Maud, in that time, better than I had ever known her in London. Adversity stripped the layers of ceremony from our congress, and we spoke directly. I came to know her warmth, but I came to know her strength, too. I came to know how fucking rad her Magic the Gathering deck was. And I was like, damn, that's a ballsy deck. And she was like, I know, but it works. Honestly, bonitis may improve his situation. Yeah, it'll make everything, it'll at least even everything out. The rest of his body can look as fucked up as his face. I spoke outright of my love, though in the next breath I assured her I was aware of the hopelessness of that love. I did not tell her of the reward her husband had offered me, and which I had refused, and I had gladdened to learn, as did by indirection, that Sardonicus, though he had abjured her to be excessively cordial to me, had not revealed the ultimate and ignoble purpose of that cordiality. "Robert," she said once, "is it likely that he will be cured?" I did not tell her how unlikely it was. "For your sake, Maud," I said, "I will preserve more than I have ever done in my life. Well, persevere." Hell yeah, she's got some great Grixis control going on and relies on a combo with Cruel Deceiver. All you gotta do is just get Sardonicus into a fucking Magic the Gathering match and then just be like, fucking eat that shit. Dweebus. At length, a day arrived when all the necessities had been gathered. Some plants from the New World, certain equipment from London, and a vital instrument from Scotland. I worked long and I gotta say, Sardonicus, hey, great poker face. Duel him and send him to the Shadow Realm. Mr. Electric, I want Mr. Sardonicus sent to the principal's office and expelled. Where were we? Special instrument from Scotland. I worked long and late, in complete solitude, distilling a needed liquor from the plants. The next day, dogs were brought to me alive and carried out dead. 3 days after that, a dog left my laboratory alive, and my distilling labors came to an end. None of this had to do with me trying to find a cure. I'm just kind of a freak. I just love killing dogs. TikTok voice. I love killing dogs. I informed Sardonicus that I was ready to administer the treatment. He came to my laboratory, and I imagined there was almost a gloating triumph in his immobile smile. "Such are the fruits of concentrated effort," he said. "Man is an indolent creature, but light the fire of fear under him, and of what miracles is he not capable?" "Speak not of miracles," I said, "though prayers would do you no harm now. For you will soon be in peril of your life." I motioned him towards a table and bade him lie upon it. He did so, and I commenced explaining the treatment to him. "The explorer Magellan," I said, "wrote of a substance used on darts by the savage inhabitants of the South American continent. It killed instantly, dropping large animals in their tracks. The substance was derived from certain plants, and is, in essence, the same substance I have occupied in extracting these past days." Oh my god, you're right, you're a dog. Everyone, protect actual cartoon dog. Do not let this man near her. Do not let this man near them. Defend. Defend everyone. Defend this dog. Defend this precious dog. I'm in danger. Don't worry, he's not using... Oh, that's true. You're an actual cartoon dog. You'll be fine. Nobody let... Oh, shit. What was the bad guy from Roger Rabbit? Baron Von Doom? Baron Doom? Judge Doom? I think it's Judge Doom. Judge Doom? Boom Boom? Scooby Doom? Boom Boom? Ba-ba-doo, ba-ba-doo, ba-doo. Judge Doom. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I was right the third or fourth time.
A poison, Sir Robert? He asked wryly.
When used at full strength, I said, it kills by bringing about a total relaxation of the muscles, particularly the muscles of the lungs and heart. I have long thought that a dissolution of that poison might be beneficially slacken the rigid tensity muscles of paralyzed patients. He's inventing Botox? Oh, God.
Most ingenious, sir, he said.
I must warn you, I went on, that this distilment has never been used on a human subject. It may kill you. I must, perforce, urge you to again not insist upon its use, to accept your lot and to remove the threat of punishment you now hold over your wife's head.
You seek to frighten me, doctor, chuckled Sardonicus, to plant distrust in my bosom.
This guy says bosom a lot. For a guy who has no fucking goddamn lips, he really likes using words that require lips.
But I fear you not, an English knight and a respected physician, would never do a deed so dishonorable as to wittingly kill a patient under his care. You would be hamstrung by your gentleman's code, as well as by your professional oath. Your virtues are, in short, my vice's best ally.
Yeah, kill him anyway. Do it anyway. We'll give you a pass. Look, your gentlemanly code... I gotta be a doctor. I gotta be nice. I gotta abide by my hippopotamus oath. Nah, kill him. Do it. No, everyone's gonna miss this. It's fine. Who would even know? No one would even know. That's fine. I bristled. I am no murderer such as you, I said. If you force me... He's doing the typical villain. You're too good and nice not to kill me. Fucking Joker ass fucking character here. If you force me to use this treatment, I will do everything in my power to ensure its success, but I cannot conceal from you the possibility of death.
See to it that I live, he said flatly, for if I die, my men will kill both you and my wife. They will not kill you quickly. See to it also that I am cured, lest Maud be subjected to a fate she fears more than the slowest of tortures.
I said nothing. Also, wait a minute. Wait. Okay, so you're like, you better make sure that I don't die, or else my men will kill you and my wife. Who's gonna fucking pay him? You're dead. That's... What? They have orders from you after you die to do this? What for what? What reason would they have to even fucking obey you after you're fucking dead, idiot? Stupid. You fucking fool. You moron. You fucking goobulus.
I said nothing. Then bring me this elixir straight away, he said, and let me drink it off and make an end of this.
It is not to be drunk, I told him.
He laughed. Is it your plan to smear it on darts like the savages?
Your jest is most apposite, I said. I indeed plan to introduce it to your body by means of a sharp instrument, a new instrument not yet widely known, that was sent to me from Scotland. The original suggestion was put forth in the University of Oxford some 200 years ago by Dr. Christopher Wren, but only recently, through development by my friend Dr. Wood of Edinburgh, has it seemed practical. It is no more than a syringe. I showed him this instrument. Attached to a needle, but the needle is hollow, so that when it punctures the skin, it may carry healing drugs directly into the bloodstream. Wow, so he's just like... wow, I got this cool new invention called the needle. Botulism toxin. But yeah, this dude's like, I have invented the needle.
The medical arts will never cease earning my admiration, said Sardonicus.
I filled the syringe. My patient said, "Wait." "Are you afraid?" I asked.
"Since that memorable night in my father's grave," he replied, "I have not known fear. I had surfeit of it then. It will last out my lifetime. No, I simply wish to give instructions to one of my men."
He arose from the table, and going to the door, told one of his helots to bring Madame Sardonicus to the laboratory. "Why must she be here?" I asked.
"The sight of her," he said, "may serve you as a remembrancer of what awaits her in the event of my death, or of that other punishment she may expect should your treatment prove ineffectual."
I'm still stuck on the fact that, like, he's like, "Oh, my men will fucking kill you and my wife." Under what authority? You're dead. You're not paying them. Once you're dead, you're not paying them anymore. They can just be like, "Yeah, no, we're not doing that shit." No way. No, we're not gonna do it. We just told him that. Thanks for killing him. Dude was an asshole. Maud was brought into our presence. She looked upon my equipment, the bubbling retorts and tubes, the pointed syringe, with amazement and fright. I began to explain the principle of the treatment to her, but Sardonicus interrupted.
"Madam is not one of your students, Sir Robert. It is not necessary she knows these details. Delay no longer. Begin at once."
He stretched out upon the table again, fixing his eyes upon me. I proffered Maud a comforting look and walked over to my patient. He did not wince as I drove the needle of the syringe into his left and then right side of his face. "Now, sir," I said, and the tremor in my voice surprised me, "we must wait a period of 10 minutes." I joined Maud and talked to her in low tones, keeping my eyes always upon my patient. He stared at the ceiling. His face remained solidified in that unholy grin. Precisely 10 minutes later, a short gasp escaped him. I rushed to his side, and Maud followed close behind me. We watched with consuming fascination as that clenched face slowly softened, relaxed, changed, the lips drawing closer and closer to each other, gradually covering those naked teeth and gums, the graven creases unfolding and becoming smooth. Before a minute had passed, we were looking down upon the face of a serenely handsome man. His face flashed with pleasure, and he made as if to speak. "No," I said, "do not attempt speech just yet. The muscles of your face are so slackened that it is beyond your power. At present, to move your lips, it is beyond your power at present to move your lips." Oh shit, I lost my place. Hold on. Yeah, do not attempt speech. Muscles of your face are slackened, and it is beyond your power at present to move your lips. This condition will pass. My voice rang with exultation, and for the moment our enmity was forgotten. He nodded, then leapt from the table, and dashed to a mirror which hung on the wall nearby. Though his face could not express joy, his whole body seemed to unfurl in a great gesture of triumph, and a muffled cry of happiness burst in his throat. He turned and seized my hand. Then he looked full into Maud's face. After a moment she said, "I am happy for you, sir," and looked away. A rasping laugh sounded in his throat, and he walked to my workbench, tore a leaf from one of my notebooks, and scribbled upon it. This he handed to Maud, who read it and passed it to me. The writing said, "Fear not, lady. You will not be obliged to endure my embraces. I know full well that the restored beauty of my face will weigh not a jot in the balance of your attention and repugnance. By this document I dissolve our pristine marriage. You who have been a wife only in name are no longer even that. I give you your freedom." I looked up from my reading. Sardonicus had been writing again. He ripped another leaf from the notebook and handed it directly to me. It read, "This paper is your safe conduct out of the castle and into the village. Gold is yours for the asking, but I doubt if your English scruples will countenance the accepting of my money. I will expect you to have quit these premises before morning, taking her with you." "We will be gone within the hour," I told him, and guided Maud towards the door. Before we left the room, I turned for the last time to Sardonicus. "For your unclean threats," I said, "for the indirect but no less vicious murder of this lady's parents, for the defiling of your own father's grave, for the greed and inhumanity that moved you even before your blighted face provided you with an excuse for your conduct. For these and for what crimes unknown to me blacken your ledger, accept this token of my censure and detestation." I struck him forcibly on the face. He did not respond. He was standing there in the laboratory when I left the room with Maud. So he fucking slugged him in the face. How fucking apt. Just fucking slugged him. Okay, so this is the last part, right? So, oh yay, his face is cured. Hang on. Yeah, hold on a minute. Hang in there. Part 9. Not God above, nor the fiend below. This strange account should probably end here. No more can be said of its central character, for neither Maud nor I saw or heard of him after that night. And of us two, nothing need be imparted other than the happy knowledge that we have been most contentedly married for the past 12 years, and are the parents of a sturdy boy and 2 girls who are the lovely images of their mother. However, I have mentioned that my friend Lord Henry Stanton, the inveterate traveller and faithful letter writer, and I must now copy out a portion of his missive I received from him only a week since, and which, in point of fact, has been the agent that has prompted me to unfold this whole story of Mr. Sardonicus. "But, my dear Bobby," wrote Stanton, "in truth there is a small pleasure to be found in this part of the world, and I shall be glad to see London again. The excitements and the drama have all departed, if indeed they ever existed, and one must content oneself with the stories told at the hearthstones of inns, with the flames crackling and the mulled wine agreeably stinging one's throat. The natives here are most fond of harrowing stories, tales of gore and grue, of ghosts and ghouls and ghastly events, and I must confess a partiality to such entertainments myself. They will show you a stain on the wall and tell you it is the blood of a murdered innocent who met her death there nearly 50 years before. No amount of washing will ever remove the stain, they tell you in sepulchral tones, and indeed it deepens and darkens on a certain day of the year, the anniversary of her violent passing. One is expected to nod gravely, of course, and one does, if one wishes to encourage the telling of more stories. Back in the 11th century, you will be appraised, a battalion of foreign invaders were vanquished by the skeletons of long-dead patriots who arose from their tombs to defend their homeland, and then returned to earth when the enemy had been driven from their borders. And since they are able to show you the very graves of these lively bones, how can one disbelieve them, Bobby? Or they will point to the desolate skull of a castle, the country here abounds in such depressing piles, and tell you of a spectral tyrant who, a scant dozen years before, despaired and died alone there, deserted by the minions who had always hated him. The frightening creature roamed the village, livid and emaciated, his mind shattered, mutely imploring the succor of even the lowliest beggars. I say mutely, and that is the best part of this tall tale, for as they tell it around the fire, these inventive folk, this poor unfortunate could not speak, could not eat, and could not drink. You ask why? For the simple reason that though he clawed most horribly at his own face, and though he enlisted the aid of strong men, he was absolutely unable to open his mouth. Cursed by Lucifer, they say, he thirsted and starved in the midst of plenty, surrounded by kegs of drink and tables full of the choicest viands, suffering the tortures of Tantalus until he finally died. Ah, Bobby, the efforts of our novelists are pale stuff compared to this. English literatures have not the shameless wild imaginations of these people. I will never again read Mrs. Radcliffe with pleasure, I assure you, and the ghost of King Hamlet will from this day hence strike no terror to my soul, and will fill my heart with but paltry pity. Still, I have journeyed in foreign climates quite enough for one trip, and I long for England and that good English dullness which is relieved only by you and your dear lady, to whom you must commend me most warmly. Until next month I remain, your wayward friend, Harry Stanton. Bohemia, March 1880. Now, it would not be a difficult feat for the mind to instantly assume that the unfortunate man in the last tale was Sardonicus indeed. It is for that reason I have not yet shown Stanton's letter to Maud, for she, albeit she deeply loathes Sardonicus, is of such a compassionate and susceptible nature that she would grieve to hear of him suffering a death so horrible. But I am a man of science, and I do not form conclusions on such gossamer evidence. Harry did not mention the province of Bohemia that is supposed to have been the stage of that terrible drama, and his letter, though written in Bohemia, was not mailed by Harry until he reached Berlin, so the postmark tells me nothing. Castles like that of Sardonicus are not singular in Bohemia. Harry himself always says the country abounds in such depressing piles. So I plan to suspend conclusive thoughts on the matter until I welcome Harry home and can elicit from him details of the precise locality. For if that desolate skull of a castle is Castle Sardonicus, and if the story of the starving man is to be believed, then I will be struck by an awesome and curious thing. 5 days I occupied myself in extracting a liqueur from the South American plants. During those days dogs were carried dead from my laboratory. I had deliberately killed the poor creatures with the undiluted poison in order to impress Sardonicus with its deadliness. I never intended to, and in fact never did, prepare a safe dilution of that lethal drug, for its properties were too unknown, its potentiality too dangerous. The liquid I injected into Sardonicus was pure distilled water, and nothing more. This had always been my plan. The ordering of materia medica from far-flung lands was but an elaborate facade designed to work not upon the physical part of Sardonicus, but upon his mind, for after Keller, Morinac, Bourgonte, and my own massaging techniques have failed, I was convinced that it was only through his mind that his body could be cured. It was necessary to persuade him, however, that he was receiving a powerful medicament. His mind, I had hoped, would provide the rest, as in truth it did. If the tale of the spectral tyrant proved true, then we must look upon the human mind with wonderment and terror, for in that case there was nothing corporeal to prevent the wretched creature from opening his mouth and eating his fill. Alone in that castle, food aplenty at his fingertips, he had suffered a dire punishment which came upon him, to paraphrase Sardonicus's very own words, not from God above or the fiend below, but from within his own breast, his own brain, his own soul. And that was Sardonicus. That was Sardonicus, everybody. Hey! I see, that's what I mean, though, because it was like, oh no, the doctor paralyzed his face, and now he can't eat. It wasn't just that. It was like, I didn't actually do fucking anything. He did this to himself. Like, because if his condition was psychological, then I just psychologicaled him into a different psychological problem. Dying like a Chad to own the nerds. Boy, is it fortuitous that he wasn't like, okay, you all have to stay so I can make sure this works. No, he was just like, all right, I'm cured, everybody out. And everybody left before they could prove that it wasn't going to have some kind of horrible side effect. Like, you can't open your fucking mouth. What irony that the man could now probably fuck, but now he can't open his mouth to suck. There was no treatment. Yeah, exactly. Because, like, there was no treatment. He just, like, psychologicaled his brain into being like, haha. Oh, wait. So guess what? Die, idiot. Guess what, dumbass? You brained yourself to death. Wait, shit. Oh boy, my mouth is finally closed. Wait, oh god damn it. You played yourself. You played yourself, buddy. Alright, so that was Sardonicus, everybody. That was Ray Russell's Sardonicus. There's a couple more stories in this that I think would be interesting. The next one seems to have, like, I think it has some, what was it? Men will literally die gibbering in the streets instead of going to therapy. You're not wrong. But the next couple of stories also kind of look interesting on the same level of like of being like kind of this gothic atmosphere that ends with like a twist, a little twist. I think that because like I think the next story has to do with like I can't say for certain, but I think his next story, which is called like I think it's called like Sagittarius. Let me check real quick. Yeah, the next story is called Sagittarius, and I think it has to do with like what if Jack the Ripper and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde were connected? Like what if basically I think that's what it is a story of presenting the idea of like what if Jack the Ripper was like Mr. Hyde, which sounds like a really cool idea, and I'll investigate it a little more just to be sure. That is one thing I really need to do more of. If it, once now that we're gonna start this back up again, I really need to screen some books. I've been doing pretty good at that. I've been paying more attention to some of the books that I pick up and trying to make sure that I research them before I bring them on. I don't want to like spoil them too much for myself because I have fun. I really have fun like reading on stream and reacting along with you guys. So I don't want to give away too much to myself, but I do want to make sure that it's not going to be too bad. This kind of came close. It came a little. It was getting close. It was towing the line a little bit towards unsavory, but at least they weren't horribly explicit about it. Like it was kind of implied rather than stated explicitly what would happen. And so I'm like, okay, that's all right. I can handle that. But as long as it's not like outright fucking explicitly gross, that's the problem we've come into with a lot of contemporary shit. I don't need to know exactly what he means by forced conjugation. I left those two words out because I really did not like that. But he says that at one point, and I'm like, okay, that's as far as it needs to go. I don't need to know. I don't need to know what that means. So anyway, thank you all. Thank you all for coming. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you all really do enjoy these streams enough to like to come back even after I have been absent for like a couple of weeks about it. Like I said, my brain spaghetti has been getting a little bit better. My therapist appointment kept getting pushed back like a couple of weeks, and then I finally saw him and got a chance to unload my emotional bucket a little bit. So I think that's why I'm feeling better. But yeah, thank you so much. I'm glad you guys have fun. I'll do another stream this week. I'm not sure when. Maybe we'll kind of jump back onto our usual timetables of like Tuesdays and Fridays. Today's Monday, so yeah, maybe we'll do one on like I don't know, Thursday or Friday. We'll see. I'll make an announcement for it. Thank you all for coming. I love you all. I hope you all have a lovely evening. And, yeah. Thank you all for coming. This has been a very good stream. I had a lot of fun. Okay. Oh, wait. Hold on. One last thing. One last thing before we go. Whee! Okay, bye.